Chapter 710. The Heavenly Realm calmed down once more. Jiang Changkong did not wait for the various factions to besiege him. He received news that 20 heritage sites belonged to the Itinerant Cultivators Alliance, with tokens marking the 20 heritage sites. One of them contained Chaos Divine Flame, while the others were heritage sites that contained resources or might be research sites. As for how the other heritage sites were divided, it was up to the various factions to decide. Then, it was near Mount Buzhou, where he obtained a territory that spanned over 50,000 kilometers. He could not enter the territories of other factions unless invited. It was the Penglai sect, the suppressing Yuan immortal sect, and the Demon Emperor who fought for it for him. Jiang Changkong was a little surprised when he heard that the Demon Emperor was helping him. The Demon Emperor and the Demon Emperor were clearly brothers on the surface. Why would he help a friend of the Demon Emperor? 100,000 kilometers of territory was 1,000,000 kilometers in length. It was so small that Sun Wuxuan could not even make a somersault. But now, the Demon Emperor did not even make half a somersault, which was 100,000 kilometers. Needless to say, the four factions and the various sects clearly had larger territories. The Itinerant Cultivators Alliance was very excited when they received the news. After all, it meant that the various factions had accommodated them, allowing them to survive in the heavenly realm. Most importantly, they could enter Mount Buzhou. News came from Mount Buzhou that someone had obtained innate materials and godly items. Godly items nurtured by the world that contained innate Tao patterns were at least inferior rank 7. The news directly blew up the entire heavenly realm, and every faction turned their attention to Mount Buzhou. It was a pity that the immortal emperors could not enter, and only immortal kings and immortal lords could enter. The divine sun star was scorching the immortal emperors. Jiang Changkong led Sun Li and the others to Mount Buzhou, along with the 6 immortal emperors. They had built a temple here and would live there in the future. Sun Li and the others entered Mount Buzhou in search of materials. Jiang Changkong's expression changed. His connection with chaos divine energy was cut off after entering Mount Buzhou. The golden barrier of Mount Buzhou contained a special power. All of you wait here. I have something to do and have to leave. If anything happens, contact the Demon Emperor. Jiang Changkong instructed, intending to take a look at the chaos ruins. Don't worry, leader. The territories have been divided, and they will not act recklessly. The 6 immortal emperors said respectfully. This was a territory that had just been divided, yet they were barging in as they pleased and breaking the rules. This was a provocation to all the powers. Jiang Changkong nodded and left through the air, entering the primal chaos. The Demon Emperor also sent people into Mount Buzhou. There were also some who went to the Heaven Realm ruins. Amidst the chaos, Jiang Changkong stepped onto the teleportation formation. With a flash of light, Zhang Xian appeared once more. This time, he was standing before a palace made of primordial godstones. Jiang Changkong walked in, but it was empty inside. There was nothing at all. There were originally lines on the wall, but they had been forcefully cut off, and the places where they were cut off were claw marks. Chaotic beast. Jiang Changkong touched the claw marks. He could sense the aura of a primal chaos ferocious beast in the primal chaos airflow. It should not have been too long since they left. He turned around and left. There was no longer any value in this place. When they arrived at the second ruin, it was the same. There was nothing but the remnant aura of the chaotic beasts. The chaotic beasts are migrating en masse. Jiang Changkong's eyes flickered. Was he worried that he would come? Or could it be that they were worried that the various forces of the heaven realm would come looking for them? At the third ruin, apart from the claw marks, there was no aura left either. The chaotic beasts had already left. In the vast primal chaos, if the chaotic beasts wanted to hide, it would be very difficult for him to find them. What is the relationship between celestial spirits and chaotic beasts? Jiang Changkong thought for a moment, turned around, and left. He could not count on the primal chaos anymore. He had to go back and take a look at the ruins. It was already 2 days later when he returned to the heaven realm. Everything was calm in the territory. Sun Li and the others had not come out of Mount Buzhou. Alliance leader. A celestial emperor walked over and said respectfully, "A god emperor was looking for you." "Who?" Jiang Changkong asked. "God Dynasty Chu Hong, inviting you to the God Dynasty's banquet." "Chu Hong, has the banquet ended?" Jiang Changkong said calmly. "Not yet. He said when you will return and when the banquet will be held." Jiang Changkong nodded and flew towards the God Dynasty's territory. He did not know why Chu Hong invited him to the banquet. Take down the Holy Land? He left on a cloud. In the God Dynasty's territory, there were many immortal palaces and shrines. Fairies danced, and divine light shone brightly. When Jiang Changkong arrived, Chu Hong welcomed him personally. "Immortal Emperor of Justice, it is really not easy to invite you. Something cropped up, so I went to the primal chaos." Jiang Changkong smiled and said, "I only found out about the God Emperor's invitation today, so I rushed over immediately." "Immortal Emperor of Justice, please take a seat. Other than you, there are many other immortal emperors here." Chu Hong led him to the third seat on the left. Immortal wine and spiritual fruits were already placed on the table. Other than him, there were many immortals present, and they were all immortal emperors. Peng Lai's Ji Yunfan and Ji Yunxiao sat on the fourth and fifth seats. Soon, Celestial Court's Xie Tianshi arrived, and he sat on the second seat on the right. Demon Court's Demon Emperor arrived, and he sat on the first seat on the right. Celestial Court's Chu Hong sat on the first seat on the left, and the second seat was reserved for Celestial Court. Zhen Yuan's Lu Qingxian, Immortal Slaying Sect's Immortal Emperor, came one after another, representing the gathering of various factions. Celestial Court's last to arrive was not an immortal emperor, but it was stronger than an immortal emperor. It was an ancient immortal god, the moon god's soul. Even though he was already at the limits of a mortal emperor, facing the moon god's soul, Jiang Changkong still felt great pressure. Immortal Venerable. Only an immortal Venerable could give him such pressure. Fairy Yuxiwe and Fairy Xylan followed beside the moon god and sat down. "Since everyone is here, let's start the banquet," Chu Hong said. Many factions raised their cups. "Thank you, Celestial Court, for your hospitality. I hope that we can work together and improve together." Jiang Changkong frowned slightly. What did this mean? Celestial Domain working together? Alliance Leader Jiang, you might not know about the three great immortal sects, so let me tell you about it. Chu Hong raised his hand, and divine light gathered to form a scroll. It was a divine mountain. Buzhou. On the divine mountain, there were countless patterns, as well as countless spirit herbs and connate materials. Only a small part of the divine mountain was blurry. This is the situation on Buzhou Mountain. There are no living beings, only endless treasures. Immortal emperors and above can't enter Buzhou Mountain, but immortal artifacts can be brought in, Chu Hong said excitedly. Chu Hong said excitedly, "This time, I gathered everyone here to discuss the joint treasure hunt and the distribution of work. Isn't it based on ability, and whoever gets it gets it?" Jiang Changkong asked. "Alliance Leader Jiang, there are countless immortal arrays on the Divine Mountain. Even godly monarchs can die in there," Chu Hong explained patiently. "In such a situation, one faction might not be able to take it down, so we need to work together. As for the joint distribution, we, the four courts, will take the lead and decide the distribution plan." Jiang Changkong nodded, indicating for him to continue. For the treasure hunt on Mount Buzhou, the invited powers have one condition. Take the most precious treasure, or perhaps the most tempting one, and get 30% of the rest. Jin Yuan's celestial sect has no objections. Peng Lai, Immortal Slaying, agrees. Jiang Changkong said lightly, "I have no objections either." It seemed that they had discussed it, and he also agreed to this distribution method. This banquet was just a notice. All right, let's talk about immortal spirits. Chapter 711. After the last battle, we did encounter an immortal spirit on our way back. Thank you for your warning, Alliance Master Jiang. Chu Hong cupped his hands together. I was just mentioning it casually. What happened after that? Jiang Changkong asked. The immortal emperor of the immortal slaying sect replied, "Naturally, it's to beat away the immortal spirit." Chu Hong continued, "It is very likely that the immortal spirit has already completely merged with the heaven realm. It will be extremely difficult to find it. If you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to beat around the bush, said Xietianshi coldly. There's no way to find immortal essences for now, but there are on Mount Buzhou. Chu Hong said solemnly. Our divine court's celestial emperor divined the secrets of heaven and learned that there is a treasure map on Mount Buzhou. That is a supreme saint artifact. As long as I obtain that treasure map and activate it, it will cover the entire heaven realm, and all the immortal spirits will be revealed. Jiang Changkong was slightly startled. Which sacred artifact is so miraculous? We'll only know when we get it. Chu Hong shook his head and said, This treasure map only knows that it's on Mount Buzhou. We need to work together to get it. If we obtain this treasure map, the Roe Cultivator Alliance will definitely cooperate. Jiang Changkong said solemnly. Everyone in the heavenly realm had a responsibility to deal with the celestial spirits. The other forces all agreed. Everyone in the heaven realm has a responsibility to deal with the immortal spirit. The celestial court's heavenly emperor had also deduced that the treasure map could restrain the immortal spirit. The celestial spirits already have a way to restrain it. As long as we find the treasure map, the heaven realm will be at peace. The moon god said, Then there's the matter of the results of the research. The celestial emperor of the heavenly court will publicly deal with the sealed bodies of the ferocious beasts of the chaos. Jiang Changkong listened quietly. Other than the heavenly court, the other 3 courts would also deal with it publicly. They would no longer make use of the chaos beasts to increase their strength. This was the result of the various immortal venerables' checks and balances on the heavenly court's heavenly emperor. Although Jiang Changkong really wanted to get rid of those ferocious beasts of chaos, they would definitely not be willing to do so. Aside from the primal chaos divine flames relic, there were still 19 of his 20 relics left. He wondered if there were any primal chaos ferocious beast corpses. After the discussion was over, all that was left was to eat, drink, and have fun. Jiang Changkong. A soft voice called out. Jiang Changkong turned his head and saw that it was Fairy Violet Orchid. Long time no see. It has been quite a long time. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You are already at the peak of the Immortal Emperor stage. I heard that you fought against 4 Immortal Emperors alone in the Primal Chaos. Fairy Violet Orchid said excitedly after receiving a response. Jiang Changkong was a little helpless. You are quite powerful. You are already at the limit of the Immortal Monarch realm. However, I have beaten up your father before. Fairy Xylan had improved a lot. Even the limit of the Immortal Monarch was beyond his expectations. However, when he thought of the Z-Wei celestial title in her body, he understood. Fairy Xylan glared at him. If you dare to hit my father again, I'll tell Little Dragon King not to want you. The corner of Jiang Changkong's mouth twitched. Do you have a good relationship with the Little Dragon King? Did you guys harass the East Sea a lot while I was away? As the banquet continued, Jiang Changkong and Violet Orchid Fairy whispered to each other. A few hours later, the major forces got up and began to walk around each other. Jiang Changkong also reminisced with Lu Qingxian and the others. The banquet was not very restrained. This time, they had to communicate with each other. Maybe they would need to ask for help in the future. After Jiang Changkong finished reminiscing with them, he walked to the side. Moon Goddess walked over. Yu Shui and Violet Orchid hurriedly followed. Moon Goddess. Jiang Changkong bowed slightly. Moon Goddess nodded lightly. If you have time, go back to the East Sea to take a look. Jiang Changkong sighed softly. I can't go back now. After all, it is the territory of the Heavenly Court. Moon Goddess looked at Violet Orchid Fairy and then glanced around. After confirming that there was no one around, she said, Give it to him. What is it? Jiang Changkong was puzzled. Little Dragon King asked us to give it to you. He said that he found it in the dusty land of the East Sea. It concerns the ancient dragon race. Please help. Violet Orchid Fairy took out a wooden box and handed it to him. Jiang Changkong took the wooden box and opened it easily. There was a dragon scroll inside. Have you seen it? I can't understand it. I need your reincarnation plate to open it. Moon Goddess said lightly. This thing gives me a sense of familiarity. It should be an ancient relic. Moon Goddess gave it a sense of familiarity. Jiang Changkong accepted the scroll. Thank you. I will study it when I get back. So stingy. Violet Orchid Fairy curled her lips. Jade Snow Fairy, who had been silent, came forward. After hesitating for a while, she said, "Are we friends?" Jiang Changkong said without hesitation, "Of course." In the past, he thought that they were two stupid women and was too lazy to care about them. Now that they had helped Little Dragon King deliver something, Jiang Changkong recognized them as friends. Jade Snow Fairy's cold face changed slightly. Her voice was a little stuttering. "If there is a chance in the future, come and see me more often." "What are you doing?" Jiang Changkong frowned. "I don't want to be Moon Goddess anymore." Jade Snow Fairy's tone was a little heavy. "I want to be like you, unfettered and free. If you want true freedom, you have to reach mixed essence." Jiang Changkong asked, "Are you in trouble?" Jade Snow Fairy did not say anything. She turned and left, her back lonely. Violet Orchid Fairy hurriedly chased after her and comforted her softly. "What's wrong with her?" Jiang Changkong looked at Moon Goddess. Moon Goddess said coldly, "I am free. Moon Goddess's duty is to guard the moon forever. Without the permission of the heavenly Tao, she cannot leave." Jiang Changkong, was she imprisoned for life? Every immortal has their own duty. Just like your judicial immortal position, your duty is to enforce the law. Moon Goddess's cold voice was very calm. Every immortal's duty is to guard the divine planet, protect the heavenly Tao, and protect the heavenly realm. Jiang Changkong sighed softly. "Will I be like this in the future? I don't know." Moon Goddess's voice was cold. "I still have things to do. Goodbye." Jiang Changkong looked at the three of them and then looked up at the sky. Was the heavenly Tao going to use all the immortals to resist the assimilation of chaos? Eternally guarding the lunar star, was this the loneliness of the moon god? Moon Goddess? Jiang Changkong rode a cloud and left the divine court, returning to his own territory. He passed the news to the 6 immortal emperors and told them to tell the immortal kings and immortal lords under them about the treasure map of Mount Buzhou. He studied Little Dragon King's scroll. He took out the reincarnation disc and released the power of reincarnation into the dragon skin scroll. Buzz! Divine light appeared on the dragon skin scroll. Dragon might surged, and the power of a true dragon gathered to form a map. "This is Mount Buzhou." Jiang Changkong looked at the center of the map. The divine mountain was Mount Buzhou. Near Mount Buzhou, there was a dot of light. It should be the place he wanted to go. "My territory is here. According to the distance, the place I want to go, the immortal slaying sex territory. Barging into the other party's territory for no reason could easily cause a fight. Should he ask them first or sneak over?" While thinking, the map turned into a ray of light and entered Jiang Changkong's mind. Streams of information flowed into his mind. The ancient dragon race's experimental site was related to the final results of the ancient dragon race's experiment, and even the reason and route of departure. There is also the treasure left by the ancient dragon race. The treasure of the ancient dragon race. It seems that I have to go there. Jiang Changkong thought and sent someone to inform the immortal slaying sect. He went to do something. Chapter 712. Alliance leader, the celestial emperor of immortal slaying sect replied that you're not allowed to go over. And celestial emperor said carefully. Jiang Changkong rubbed his forehead. "Did you state your conditions?" "I did, a late-stage celestial emperor chaos beast." The celestial slaying sect said. "What did they say?" The celestial emperor looked at him carefully. "They said that you have trash in your hands, and they don't want it." Jiang Changkong sneered. "What a big appetite. You can leave now. I will contact them personally." "Yes." The celestial emperor heaved a sigh of relief and left. Jiang Changkong took out a jade token and contacted the celestial slaying sect. "I, Jiang Changkong, want to come to your territory to settle some matters. The celestial slaying sect doesn't welcome you." A cold and resentful voice sounded. "So it's you, the loser." Jiang Changkong could tell that it was the peak celestial emperor he defeated. At that time, only his head was left. No wonder he rejected. If it was him, he wouldn't have agreed either. "Jiang Changkong, with me here, Don't even think about coming over. The Celestial Emperor said coldly. Jiang Changkong said calmly, You can state your conditions. I can state my conditions? What do you have? That tattered rogue cultivator alliance? The Celestial Emperor sneered in disdain. Chaos beast me, or supreme immortal scripture, or the complete immortal slaying flying saber? Jiang Changkong said calmly. The Celestial Emperor fell silent. You have the complete immortal slaying flying saber? Of course, as long as I'm done with my business, I will give it to you immediately. Jiang Changkong said calmly. As long as he had essence, qi, and spirit, he could deduce it. However, this function was useless to him. He could only use it to help his friends perfect their immortal scriptures. Save your words for a fool. The Celestial Emperor sneered and hung up. Jiang Changkong frowned. He wasn't tempted. Although it was hard to believe, he didn't want to get lucky. There was no room for discussion. Jiang Changkong frowned and left the palace. Let's deal with the ruins first. Through his divine power, he could sense that an immortal king had met with trouble. He had found the corpse of a primal chaos beast sealed in a historical remnant. Fortunately, the corpse had not been completely unsealed. His divine power could protect him for a while. Within the ruins, the aura of primal chaos surged. That which the heavenly Tao did not tolerate gradually broke through its seal. The celestial kings quickly retreated and escaped from the seal. Jiang Changkong sent out a streak of god power and looked at the half-body that appeared in front of him. The aura it gave off was extremely terrifying. Peak of the immortal emperor stage. The primal chaos ferocious beasts that were sealed back then all possessed extremely terrifying strength. Their complete bodies were definitely immortal venerables. Roar! A roar rang out, and the silhouette of a beast charged out from the upper half of its body. A terrifying aura shattered the void, and a law of primal chaos filled the air. Endless primal chaos, qi, surged over and fused with the upper half of the body. The primal chaos beast's flesh and blood were growing. Beast claws began to grow, and its huge mouth breathed in and out primal chaos aura. Roar! Another roar sounded. This time, it came from the crack in the void and the endless primal chaos. The upper half of the body glanced at Jiang Changkong, but it actually ignored him and wanted to enter the crack in the void. You want to run? The divine power incarnation arrived in an instant and slapped the primal chaos beast. The primal chaos beast paused and growled. Its ferocious eyes stared at Jiang Changkong, and the beast claws that had just grown out were about to grab Jiang Changkong. Roar! In the primal chaos, the roar sounded again, revealing a sense of anxiety. The primal chaos beast once again gave up on the divine power incarnation and burrowed into the primal chaos. The divine power incarnation directly grabbed the primal chaos beast, wanting to hold it back. A majestic aura shook and directly pushed back the divine power incarnation. The primal chaos beast had already burrowed into the primal chaos. Its forelimbs quickly grew out, and it even had a tail. Its violent eyes looked in the direction of the roar and quickly rushed over. The divine power incarnation followed closely behind and rushed into the primal chaos. The primal chaos beast entered the primal chaos and quickly shuttled through tens of thousands of miles of primal chaos before finally stopping. A huge primal chaos beast stood in the primal chaos like a divine mountain. It let out a shocking roar and stirred the primal chaos airflow. The divine power incarnation that followed looked up at this ferocious beast. It was at the peak of the immortal emperor realm. Roar! The roar continued, and roars came from afar in response. The primal chaos beast swung its tail and whipped it towards the divine power incarnation. Clearly, it had reached the end and had time to deal with the incarnation. Rumble! The primal chaos shook, and rays of golden light tore through the primal chaos and descended. The immortals of the heavenly realm had caught up. When they realized that the primal chaos beast had left, they all chose to follow. Roar! The primal chaos beast roared and directly pounced towards the immortal light. The divine power incarnation did not dodge and directly dissipated. That was because the main body had arrived. Jiang Changkong split the primal chaos and looked at the huge primal chaos beast with a solemn gaze. This primal chaos beast did not have any intelligence. Why would it summon the primal chaos beast here? As he pondered, the primal chaos beast had already pounced over. Its sharp claws contained the primal chaos laws and were filled with a violent aura. Boom! A surging wave of air shook the area. Jiang Changkong raised his right palm, and his divine power was like a rope that wrapped around the primal chaos beast. The primal chaos beast roared continuously, but could not break free from the rope. It could only be suppressed and sealed by Jiang Changkong. The low roars of beasts resounded continuously in the distance. Immortal light, divine light, and all kinds of laws suppressed the primal chaos. The experts from the heavenly realm used their own abilities to deal with the primal chaos beast. Jiang Changkong put away the primal chaos beast, and the image of the divine banner appeared to suppress the primal chaos beast. He saw Chu Hong fighting a peak primal chaos beast. A metal staff smashed over, crushing the primal chaos beast and landing on it. Sun Wuxuan, who was a peak immortal emperor, had arrived. Rumble! The peak immortal emperor primal chaos beast tumbled away. After stabilizing its body, it pounced over and fought with him. There were 8 primal chaos beasts, and the weakest was a peak immortal emperor. 2 of them were peak immortal emperors. Do you need help? Jiang Changkong floated beside Chu Hong and asked calmly. No need. This one is mine. Chu Hong forced the primal chaos beast to retreat with his spear and rejected coldly. These primal chaos beasts were treasures. He did not want to give them up. I'll give you the corpse, and I'll help you kill them for free. How about that? Jiang Changkong said. Chu Hong smiled. Immortal Emperor of Justice, who doesn't know that the heavenly Tao does not tolerate the primal chaos beasts? If you bring them back to the heavenly realm and kill them, you will obtain the power of heaven. Jiang Changkong. All right, it seems like you all know. That's right. The 4 heavenly emperors were all favored by the heavenly Tao. However, in such a situation, how would that person from the heavenly court dare to let his subordinates fuse with the primal chaos beasts? Fatten them up and harvest them? These primal chaos beasts already had opponents. It was not good for Jiang Changkong to snatch the kill. After all, they had just agreed to cooperate. If he snatched the kill, he would be breaking the balance. Is that the person from the immortal slaying sect? Jiang Changkong saw the immortal emperor of the immortal slaying sect. The half-completed immortal slaying flying saber froze the primal chaos beast and severely injured it. The heavenly realm immortals had the upper hand. They did not need his help. Coming to the immortal slaying sect's immortal emperor, Jiang Changkong said, "Let's discuss again. How about letting me go to the immortal slaying sect? I'll just go for a walk." Impossible. The immortal slaying sect's immortal emperor said coldly. We're all living in the immortal world. We have to help each other in Buzhou Mountain. Why must you be so heartless? Maybe one day, your immortal slaying sect will come to me for help. Beg you? Not even in my next life. Chapter 713. The battle and the chaos didn't last long. The immortals of the heavenly realm won and suppressed all the chaos beasts. Jiang Changkong, you're too slow. Otherwise, you could have caught 2 more before we arrived. Sun Wuxuan suppressed the peak immortal emperor beast and carried his metal staff. I was careless and didn't pay attention to the ruins. Jiang Changkong said lightly. He didn't expect his immortal kings and immortal lords to be able to find the sealed chaos beasts. How would they do it with their little strength? He had wanted to slowly clear it himself. He didn't expect this to happen. He went back the way he came and returned to the ruins. The immortal kings had arrived. Greetings, Alliance leader. The immortal kings bowed respectfully. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. How did you unseal this beast? Without understanding the ruins, it would be difficult to barge in without the strength of an immortal emperor. They couldn't unseal the chaos beasts. We just arrived and it was unsealed, one of the immortal kings said nervously. We haven't even explored it yet. It was unsealed as soon as we arrived? Jiang Changkong was stunned. That's right. If not for the commotion caused by the unsealing, we wouldn't have been able to find this place, the Immortal Kings said respectfully. Jiang Changkong's eyes flickered. He waved his hand. Go do what you need to do. I'll take a look. Leaving behind an incarnation, Jiang Changkong turned and left. He wanted to go to the other ruins to take a look. Given his strength, the ruins here could no longer hide from him. He tore open the void and arrived at the real ruins. There were no chaos beasts here. This was just a pure research site. He went to the next ruin and walked through more than 10 ruins. Some were just ordinary ruins, and some had many connate materials. He went to another ruin. The moment he entered, there was a loud bang. The void cracked and an entrance appeared. A monstrous aura spread out. The chaos beasts were sealed. He stepped into the spatial crack, and the divine power brought the Immortal Kings out. A giant head opened its eyes wide and breathed in and out chaotic energy. Endless chaos energy flew out from the spatial crack and helped it recover. There was another aura lingering in the void. Someone came in and released the chaos beasts. This emperor has memorized the aura. Jiang Changkong snorted coldly. The reincarnation disk suppressed the void and directly destroyed this peak immortal emperor's head. The void was flattened and the chaotic energy was cut off. The vicious beasts roared, but they could not resist. The power of reincarnation directly obliterated the chaos beast's vitality. Heaven power 100,000. Zhang Xian kept the head of the chaos beast. There was no longer any value in this place, so he left immediately. There were no more chaotic beasts in the rest of the ruins. Jiang Changkong returned to the first ruin, but his incarnation did not find any clues. Is this purely for me? Jiang Changkong closed his eyes. There was no movement from the demon emperor's side, and the demon folk's ruins were unaffected. After leaving this place, his heart sank. His historical remnant could be considered as useless now. The value of the rest of the ruins was not great. Jiang Changkong intended to ignore these ruins and prepare for the Little Dragon King's scroll and Buzhou Mountain. Since they were targeting him, the other party would definitely make a move. He had many enemies. The 4 great powers could all act against him. There was also the immortal-slaying immortal sect. After returning to the palace near Buzhou Mountain, Jiang Changkong was in a dilemma. The territories of the major powers were all isolated by barriers. It was impossible to sneak in silently. Alliance leader Sun Li is back. An immortal emperor walked in, unable to conceal the joy on his face. Oh, quick, bring him here. Jiang Changkong looked over and saw Sun Li rushing over. The immortal emperor hurried out and brought Sun Li in. The moment Sun Li came in, his tired expression was filled with excitement. Alliance leader, I found an innate spirit stone mine. Grade 7. Really? Jiang Changkong was overjoyed and quickly asked. Absolutely. These are the innate spirit stones that I dug out. Sun Li took out 2 spirit stones. Essence, energy, and spirit. 200-inch middle grade 7. Jiang Changkong was pleasantly surprised. That vein seems to be of extremely high quality. Sun Li hurriedly said, Yes, Alliance leader. These are just 2 random pieces that I dug out. If we go deeper, the quality will definitely be higher. However, digging is very difficult. After I found the mine, I set up an array to conceal it. Sun Qing and Northern Demon guarded it while I rushed back to report to Alliance leader. Good. You guys have done a great job. I just killed a peak immortal emperor beast. I will refine it for you to improve your foundation. Jiang Changkong accepted the innate spirit stones. As long as they could help him improve, he would not be stingy with his rewards. Thank you, Alliance leader. Sun Li was overjoyed. He wanted to become an immortal emperor, but his foundation was not strong enough. If Jiang Changkong could refine it for him, it would definitely improve his foundation. Don't tell anyone about this. After this, bring my Panga banner and dig for the innate spirit stones. Jiang Changkong sighed. The claws of the chaos beasts are sharp too. I could bring them in to dig. Alliance leader, don't worry. We will not tell anyone about this. The immortal emperor hurriedly said. Jiang Changkong nodded. You guys will benefit from this. The bones and claws of the chaos beasts can all be given to you to improve the quality of your immortal artifacts. After dismissing the immortal emperor, Jiang Changkong started to improve Sun Li's strength. He used his chaos god power and the chaos beast to strengthen Sun Li. As there was no heaven Dao fragment, he used 2 days to complete Sun Li's improvement. Sun Li was already an extreme god king. After the improvement, he was only slightly weaker than Kuan Yu. One had to know that Kuan Yu used the resources of the demon court to refine his body to the extreme. Sun Li felt the surging power in his body. He took out some materials. Alliance leader, these are the innate materials I found inside. Keep them for yourself. I only want the innate spirit stones. Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Thank you, Alliance leader. Sun Li was stunned. He hurriedly kept them. Once again, he felt that he followed the right person. Innate materials would be very useful for him to become an immortal emperor in the future. Jiang Changkong told Sun Li to dig the mine as soon as possible. The Panga banner was also handed over to him. Sun Li left and entered Mount Buzhou again. Arrange the map of Mount Buzhou and send it to me. Jiang Changkong's voice sounded. Not long after, an immortal emperor came and sent the map. Jiang Changkong looked at the map. Although he had seen some of it in the divine court, there was no territory of his. Plants towered into the sky on Mount Buzhou. The innate spirit stone mine was at the foot of the mountain. He had not found out the situation up there. Why does Mount Buzhou forbid immortal emperors from entering? What did those sages leave inside? Jiang Changkong frowned. Could that treasure map really restrain immortal spirits? After thinking about it, he sent a message to Lu Qingxian and asked him if Venerable Zhen Xian knew about the treasure map. The reply was quick. Old Ancestor did not divine the treasure map. According to the news, only the Celestial Emperor should know about it. Jiang Changkong thought about it. What realm is the immortal slaying sex Old Ancestor? Does he have a relationship with the Zhen Yuan celestial sect? He is no weaker than Old Ancestor Zhen Xian. It is best not to provoke the immortal Emperor of Justice. Lu Qingxian said solemnly. Jiang Changkong sighed. If that was the case, even if he got the item, he might not be able to take it away. Chapter 714. Jiang Changkong gave up on fighting head-on. Fighting head-on would only result in him being iron-headed. He couldn't take the initiative to provoke them. Young Dragon King, you've really given me a difficult problem. Rubbing his forehead, Jiang Changkong felt a headache coming on. Given the current situation, he could only place his hopes on this primordial spirit stone vein. 2 pieces were mid-tier, 7th-grade spirit stones. What would happen if he dug them all out? Jiang Changkong ordered, tell all the immortal kings to prepare to enter Buzhou Mountain. The itinerant cultivator alliance and immortal kings all rushed to Buzhou Mountain. He had to dig out all the connate spirit stones as soon as possible. With the sage artifact fragment and his help, these immortal kings wouldn't be able to escape his control. As for the demon emperor, he also sent people to Buzhou Mountain to collect resources. Some of them would be given to the demon emperor. He didn't care about that. It was fine as long as they had their essences. What was worth mentioning was that Sun Wuxuan killed the peak immortal emperor Chaos Beast and took 100,000 essences. Demon Emperor Feng Jiu came out of seclusion and asked to see you, said Sun Wuxuan. The demon emperor smiled. Let him in. Feng Jiu greets the demon emperor. Feng Jiu came with a red face. Late stage immortal emperor. You didn't waste my efforts, the demon emperor said with satisfaction. With the Chaos Phoenix fruit and a peak Chaos Phoenix, it wasn't surprising that she became a late-stage immortal emperor. Demon Emperor, I heard about something and rushed over, said Feng Jiu. The demon emperor replied indifferently. When? The demon master plans to deal with Jiang Changkong, said Feng Jiu. Sun Wuxuan narrowed his eyes. With Jiang Changkong's strength, no one is his match unless they're immortal sovereigns? Is there something wrong with the demon master's head? What was this dumb bird going to do now? The demon emperor looked at Feng Jiu, waiting for her explanation. Jiang Changkong is the easiest to bully now. There are countless resources on Buzhou Mountain. Jiang Changkong is very strong, but his subordinates aren't, said Feng Jiu. Feng Jiu said in a low voice, Kuan Yu has already contacted the Heavenly Court and the Immortal Slaying Sect. What about the God Court and Immortal Court? The Demon Emperor asked. The Celestial Court is just observing. The Celestial Court didn't invite them because their representative here is Jie Tianshi. Feng Jiu said. It was no secret that Jiang Changkong had saved Jie Tianshi. No matter how stupid Kuan Yu was, there was no way he would invite Jie Tianshi to deal with his benefactor. Monster Emperor muttered, What does Immortal Emperor Wu Xin think about this? Of course it's to help Jiang Changkong. Jiang Changkong has helped our Yao clan many times. Sun Wuxuan explained. Previously, the demarcation of the boundaries, the shard of heaven's Dao in the underworld, and now the ghost race. All of these were taken down by Jiang Changkong. Pass down the order then. Have the Immortal Kings assist the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The Demon Emperor ordered. This subordinate will take his leave. Feng Jiu bowed and left respectfully. The news had already been reported. What to do next was not something he should worry about. Meanwhile, Jiang Changkong was contacting the Penglai sect and the Zhen Yuan Immortal sect too. Since they dared to make a move on him, then he wouldn't be polite. Since the Immortal Slayer sect was also involved, it was a good starting point for him. Still, if that was the case, he would have to split some of his innate spirit stone veins. After all, he could not let them work for nothing. If I make an opening, could I bring the venerable Immortal Zhen Xian over? Jiang Changkong mused. The Immortal Slayer sect had their venerable immortal who was no weaker than the venerable Immortal Zhen Xian. If he went over, he would have to bring a backer to prevent the venerable Immortal Zhen Xian from making a move. Inform Sun Li that the Celestial Court, the Demon Court, and the Immortal Slayer sect would target the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and set up an ambush. Capture them alive if possible, and kill them on the spot if not. I have contacted the Penglai sect and the Zhen Yuan Immortal sect for help. With that, Jiang Changkong continued contacting the two immortal sections. Still, Lu Qingxian could not make the decision just yet, since his sect would not help for nothing. Lord Jiang, you're making things difficult. The Penglai sect and the Zhen Yuan Immortal sect do not wish to interfere with the heavenly realm. Both immortal sects had the same idea. They only wanted to play their own game. A rank 7 innate spirit stone vein will be split equally between the three sects, Jiang Changkong said flatly. Well, let's think about it. The rank 7 innate spirit stone vein was too precious, and they could not make up their minds. My Saint artifact, the Panga banner, can be borrowed in the future on Mount Buzhou if you need it, Jiang Changkong said again. Okay, we agree. Being able to borrow the Saint artifact fragment would be of great help to the immortal kings under them. In terms of mining, ordinary rank 7 immortal artifacts were definitely not as good as Saint artifacts. Sigh, even Saint artifacts are reduced to mining. Jiang Changkong sighed. He was probably the most extravagant person since the primordial era. The two major forces agreed, and the Demon Emperor sent many immortal kings, including Sun Wuxing, an ultimate immortal king. Sun Wuxing led a group of immortal kings into Mount Buzhou. Not long after Sun Li left, someone caught up to him. When he received the news, he was instantly enraged. He had just been rewarded, and someone wanted to target them? He was still counting on the alliance leader to help him become an immortal emperor. A group of immortal kings gathered on the mysterious Mount Buzhou. The immortal kings of the other sects had arrived as well, gathering at the innate spirit stone quarry. Sun Wuxing hefted his iron staff and chuckled. Sun Li, where's the fragment of the Panga banner? Lend it to me. Sun Li flatly said, I'll lend it to you if we win, but don't even think about it if we lose. We would be too ashamed if we lose. The ultimate immortal king of the Penglai sect said coldly. The Immortal Slayer sect is really bold. The Demon Master and the Celestial Court are getting more and more outrageous. Sun Wuxing sneered. Let's discuss how we should act. We'll wait for them to come and catch them off guard, Sun Li said coldly. At the foot of Mount Buzhou, the divine trees reached the skies, and the weeds were taller than humans. Moreover, with the suppression of the divine might of Mount Buzhou, the immortal kings would not be able to see too far away, and they could completely surround them. The people of the three factions spread out, preparing to face the incoming enemies. In comparison, both sides were more or less equal in ability. Kuan Yu's demons might be stronger than the demons under the demons of the Demon Emperor, but there was a limit. After all, the Demon Emperor had millions of ghosts under him. Amidst the weeds, the three factions were hiding while Sun Li and the others continued to excavate the innate soul stone mine. They had wanted to seal the news, but could not do so due to Kuan Yu's actions. Not long after, the beasts and humans arrived. Looking at the busy Sun Li and the others, they smiled coldly. Hold on, could it be a trap? The pagoda-bearing immortal king asked somberly. What trap could it be? How would they know when we suddenly attacked? A demon snorted coldly. Boys, charge and surround them. Pagoda-bearing, you are too cowardly. The immortal king of the Immortal Slayer sect snorted coldly and quickly charged forward with the other immortal kings. The pagoda-bearing immortal king frowned, but soon relaxed. It made sense that he was overthinking things. Jiang Changkong was merely an immortal emperor and not an immortal lord. Moreover, even an immortal lord would not be able to deduce what was going on at Mount Buzhou. He could prepare ahead of time. At the pagoda-bearing immortal king's command, the people of the celestial court swarmed forward. Jiang Changkong, don't blame me this time. The command came too suddenly, and I was helpless. Not good. These bastards are not following the rules. Sun Li's angry voice sounded. Chapter 715. Rules? What a joke. Who said we can't fight? The immortal king sneered and roared. Kill. This person has a sacred artifact fragment on him. Capturing him will be a great merit. Immortal light shone resplendently, but it couldn't reach 100 meters. At the foot of Buzhou Mountain, immortal kings couldn't fly in the air. Immortal force was severely suppressed. Boom! Immortal light collided. Baleful energy overflowed into the sky. Killing intent pervaded the air. A fragment appeared in Sun Li's hand. It was incomparably sharp and terrifying. Mountains of corpses and seas of blood appeared. Those that made contact with the baleful energy immediately had their flesh split open, immortal blood flowing. The holy artifact fragment in Sun Li's hand was even more destructive than the Panga banner. A fragment appeared above Sun Qing's head. It was suffused with golden light. The attack of an immortal king was actually unable to break through his defense. The other celestial kings were not as good as them, and they were instantly heavily injured. The intense battle began. Sun Li's battle prowess had already reached its limit after receiving Jiang Changkong's help. With the help of the Saint Artifact Fragment, he surpassed his limit even further. With a wave of killing intent, an immortal king died. The pagoda-bearing Heavenly King was at the very back. The pagoda in his hand glowed with a golden light. He felt like he didn't need to do anything at all. Although the Sun Brothers were powerful, they couldn't kill so many celestial kings. Moreover, the monster race, the Heavenly Court, and the immortal slaying sect had also sent many limited immortal kings. Sigh. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King sighed, feeling guilty towards Jiang Changkong. He was indebted to Jiang Changkong. But wait, what's in the grass? He pushed aside the weeds in frustration and saw an ape glaring at him. Both of them stared at each other in confusion. This situation was abnormal. Roar! The ape roared and smashed his club towards pagoda-bearing Heavenly King. Kill! A furious roar tore through the air of Mount Buzhou as several figures charged toward the mountain peak while roaring. One immortal king after another leaped out from the weeds. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King finally understood the situation when the metal cudgel arrived. The pagoda spun and blocked the metal cudgel. Bang! The pagoda flew out, and pagoda-bearing Heavenly King retreated. He shouted angrily, "We've been tricked. Everyone be careful. Take this king strike." Faintly discernible and traceless, the sword Qi rushed into the heavens. The Penglai sword Qi cut through the weeds and tore through them. Heaven and Earth sleeve. Many figures appeared. Even if they had not mastered the sleeve universe divine ability, it was enough to deal with people of the same cultivation level. Immortal slaying. A disciple of the immortal slaying immortal sect reappeared with a semi-finished immortal slaying flying saber. Peng Lai flying immortal sword. Tens of thousands of swords soared into the sky, and the sword will soar into the 9 heavens, protecting him. White light trembled, but could not break through the sword will. The incomplete immortal cutting flying dagger could not stop the Peng Lai sect disciple. You didn't know about the immortal slaying flying saber in the beginning. Now that you know, you still want to be arrogant? Tens of thousands of sword chi turned into a river of sword chi and surged out. The disciples of the immortal slaying sect harumphed coldly and turned into giant tortoises. The defense of the tortoise shell was extremely strong and difficult to injure. Wow! Blood-curdling screams echoed out to fill the souls of the ghost mothers, who had 9 infants hovering next to them, completely ignoring the defenses of their turtle shells. Josie, immortal mother, there's also us. Dragon roars resounded as the nether dragon faced off against the demonic race, Azura race, and the rest of the ghoul race. How dare you? How dare you attack us? The immortal kings sent by Kuan Yu roared in anger. They were the subordinates of the demon Arch, and the demon master had personally given the order. The demon sovereign has ordered us to help our ally, Jiang Changkong. One of the ghost mother's eyes flashed with an icy glint. The demons were speechless. Why would the demon emperor help an outsider attack his own people? Why would the demon emperor not do anything? Regardless of what they thought, the ghost mothers were not going to show mercy. They only listened to the demon emperor and did not recognize the demon emperor. The pagoda-bearing heavenly king's pagoda shook as he blocked the iron cudgel and said coldly, I have no intention of making you my enemy. How about we both stop? Clang! As the sound of a bell echoed, the surrounding weeds were pulverized, and the immortal kings of the celestial court felt as if their heads were splitting apart wherever the bell rang. The silhouette of the divine bell over Sun Wuxing's head flatly said, I do not agree. The pagoda-bearing heavenly king was speechless. The demon emperor had even brought out the fragment of the bell of chaos. Kill them. So what if it is a fragment of a holy item? It's not like we don't have the treasures of the immortal emperor. The immortal king of the immortal slaying sect bellowed in rage, drawing out a golden divine sword that emanated divine might. Unfortunately, I have one too. The Peng Lai sect's immortal king pointed his fingers like a sword, and a rank 7 immortal sword hovered beside him. Unfortunately, my iron cudgel is a rank 7 immortal item too. Another ape appeared, carrying an iron cudgel. My dagger is a rank 7 immortal item too. A demon immortal king walked up. Damn it, mysterious destroyer. You are of the heaven-devouring python bloodline, but you listened to the demon emperor. One of the heaven-devouring pythons bellowed in rage. The mysterious destroyer immortal king flatly said, I've had enough of that useless Kuan Yu. He had already had enough of Kuan Yu, and was now wholeheartedly supporting the demon emperor. Demon master, or whatever. He had tossed all that to the back of his mind from the moment he tricked the god emperor's treasures into handing them over to the demon emperor. How nice was it to follow the demon emperor? He had even been given immortal emperor-grade chaos feral meat, which the demon emperor had personally refined. Did Kuan Yu get such treatment? To complete their mission and ensure their safety, the demon emperor had given every ultimate immortal king a rank 7 immortal emperor treasure. Was Kuan Yu worthy? The demon emperor might be poor, but he was generous to his subordinates. Boom! As the dagger descended, the might of an exalted immortal and innate divine might quake the air. A demon was sent flying, its immortal king blood splattering everywhere. The iron cudgel descended, and the pagoda-bearing heavenly king retreated. What could he use to fight? They were all ultimate immortal kings, and Flower Fruit Mountain was already strong, and now they had immortal emperor-grade treasures. Under the suppression of immortal artifacts, the battle was almost one-sided. Of course, the heavenly court and immortal slaying sect and the demons sent by Kuan Yu were equally strong. Immortal kings fell one after another, and both sides suffered casualties. Neither side was weak, and even with immortal emperor-grade treasures, they could not end the battle instantly. The blood of immortal kings dyed Mount Bujo golden, and the blood quickly seeped into the ground and disappeared. The ground here seemed to be able to absorb blood. Mount Bujo. The peak of the mountain was hazy, and one could not see clearly. The battle here also alarmed the others. The immortal kings of the divine court watched the battle silently. The people of the immortal court also watched, but they did not interfere. They were just here to see who won, and then report the final result. The battle lasted for a day and a night, but there was not much blood on the ground, and it was all absorbed by the ground. The three factions of the heavenly court had no choice but to accept the fact that their mission had failed. A small number of people rushed out of the encirclement, but most of them were killed here, and some surrendered and were captured alive. After the battle, Sun Li and the others were greatly exhausted, and they quickly consumed pills to recover their immortal power. Sun Wuxuan quickly rushed out and reported the result of the battle to the Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor received the news and sent it to his main body. Captured most of them, killed some of them, and some escaped. Jiang Changkong received the news and looked in the direction of the immortal slaying sect. He was coming. He would not go find the demon master. This failure would be very tragic for him. He would first create an opening in the immortal slaying sect. Of course, this was also because the immortal slaying sect was the weakest among the three factions. Jiang Changkong flew into the air and arrived at the immortal slaying sect. The barrier here was extremely strong. Even a peak immortal emperor would not be able to break it. The reincarnation plate appeared, and the power of reincarnation was activated, and he smashed it. Rumble. Chapter 716. Rumble. Immortal slaying sect's barrier shattered, revealing a huge gap. Jiang Changkong didn't walk in. The reincarnation disc continued to smash through the gap. Rumble. The barrier shook, and the gap became bigger and bigger. In the blink of an eye, it was already 100 meters tall. Jiang Changkong. An angry roar rang out. The peak immortal emperor arrived with a few other immortal emperors. Jiang Changkong stopped, put away the reincarnation disc, and looked at him coldly. What's the matter? You F*** king smashed our barrier, and you're asking us what's the matter? Jiang Changkong, are you going to break the rules and start a war with immortal slaying sect? The peak immortal emperor's expression was cold. Break the rules. Jiang Changkong snorted. You were the ones who discussed in the divine court to join forces to take the treasure. In the end, your people joined forces to deal with my itinerant cultivator alliance? So that's what happened. The peak immortal emperor's expression eased up. How can a small conflict in Mount Bujo be considered breaking the rules? That's right. Although we're joining forces to take the treasure, it doesn't mean that we can't fight. The other immortal emperors said coldly, if your people can't do it, don't go in. Otherwise, you'll embarrass yourself. Immortal slaying sect didn't step into your territory. You, on the other hand, have seriously broken the rules by causing trouble at immortal slaying sect. Flustered and exasperated? You know what happened at Mount Bujo, but you can't go in? You came here to make a scene? It's no use. They won't fall for it. You have angered me. Jiang Changkong clenched his fists, and a murderous aura surged. The peak immortal emperor sneered. What, you want to fight? I'll give you 3 breaths of time to scram. Otherwise, immortal slaying sect won't be polite. Very well, I'll remember. Jiang Changkong snorted and turned to leave. Let's just wait and see. Light laughter rang out. The immortal emperors said disdainfully, wait and see? Do you really think you're something? If it wasn't for the help of Demon Emperor, Jinyuan, and Punlai, how could he have survived in the heavenly realm? The immortal emperors said disdainfully and started to repair the barrier. Elders! A dozen disciples of the immortal slaying sect rushed over with panicked expressions. You've already won? Did you capture Sun Li alive and obtain the sacred artifact fragment? A few immortal emperors descended from the sky and asked. Elder, we lost. Jinin, Demon Emperor, and Punlai sent people to ambush us, but we were the only ones who escaped. The disciples were terrified and aggrieved. That Kuan Yu is a bastard. He must have colluded with the Demon Emperor to harm us. The immortal emperors. We lost. Only you guys managed to escape? Out of the hundreds of immortal kings, there were only a dozen of you? Then when Jiang Changkong came over and smashed the barrier, this guy did it on purpose. He killed people, captured them, and even smashed their doors. Most importantly, they were very happy just now. When he returned to his own territory, Sun Li had already returned with the captives. The three forces had captured 167 celestial kings, dozens had escaped, and nearly 100 had died. Good job. You're really my lucky stars. Each of you will get a piece of chaotic beast meat. Jiang Changkong took out the chaotic beast meat and distributed it to them one by one. Leader, this is their spatial equipment. 87 of the resources are inside, and they've divided the rest, Sun Li said. Jiang Changkong took out a 6th grade immortal stone and threw the rest to them. You can divide the remaining resources. Thank you, leader, the immortal king said excitedly. In the future, we'll only take 30% of the Khanate spirit stone load. Jin Yuan, Peng Lai, 30%. Go! Jiang Changkong used his divine power to suppress these captives. He had to watch over them personally. Leader, there's a situation on Mount Buzhou. The land on Mount Buzhou seems to be absorbing blood, Sun Li reported. Be careful. I can't enter Mount Buzhou yet, so I can only rely on you, Jiang Changkong said. Put your lives first. If necessary, you can give up the fragment of the sacred artifact. With the complete reincarnation disc, he didn't care too much about the fragment of the Panga banner. Thank you, leader. Sun Li and the others were extremely moved. Jiang Changkong returned to the temple and started to sort out the spoils. 87 immortal kings. They were all considered wealthy immortal kings. Of course, some of them were poor. On average, each immortal king had 56 grade immortal stones. 6th grade immortal stones, 4,350 top grade immortal stones, 7,100 top grade immortal stones, 12,500 mid grade immortal stones, 23,600 low grade immortal stones. Total essence, chi, and spirit, 873,000. Jiang Changkong wondered if he should thank Kuan Yu and the immortal slaying immortal sect. They clearly knew he was short of resources, so they were here to give him resources. After extracting essence, chi, and spirit, Jiang Changkong took out a sealed immortal king and dispersed his divine power. Pagoda-bearing heavenly king, we meet again. Pagoda-bearing heavenly king was silent for a moment, then said in a muffled voice, I was forced. Do you believe me? I really don't want to target you. It's all heavenly court's orders. I'm in despair. What do you think? Jiang Changkong tapped the deity position with his finger. I've been thinking, is heavenly court's pagoda-bearing heavenly king an ingrate? Pagoda-bearing heavenly king opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. I saved you, gave you the ginseng fruit, and let you go. In the relic, immortal Emperor Guang, Xian mutated, but I still protected you. Jiang Changkong sighed. Pagoda-bearing heavenly king, no matter if you're a human or an immortal, shouldn't you have a conscience? I've done so much. My heart should have melted by now, right? Pagoda-bearing heavenly king lowered his head. This order came too quickly. I wanted to inform immortal Emperor Justice. He was ashamed that he had unknowingly owed Jiang Changkong so much. Is that so? Jiang Changkong glanced at him coldly and said, How can this emperor believe you? Pagoda-bearing heavenly king smiled bitterly. I'm loyal to heavenly emperor. This is the truth. I'll inform you in the future to repay the favor. If you don't believe me, you can take my life. Rumble. Just as Jiang Changkong was about to speak, a shocking sound rang out. He waved his hand, and divine power suppressed pagoda-bearing heavenly king. Alliance leader, the immortal emperors of immortal slaying sect, are here. An immortal emperor said anxiously, Don't panic. I'm just afraid that they won't come. Jiang Changkong laughed nastily and charged out. A peak immortal emperor brought the previous peak immortal emperor and 2 late-stage immortal emperors. Jiang Changkong, hand over my immortal slaying sect. Hand over your father. You should be killed for trespassing into the rogue cultivator alliance. Jiang Changkong shouted in anger. The reincarnation plate released the power of a saint artifact, suppressing the void. It was like a curtain that covered the sky. The four immortal emperors almost coughed out blood. Are you for real? You broke the barrier of our immortal slaying sect, and we let you go. The four immortal emperors attacked at the same time. They activated their Grade 7 immortal artifacts and clashed head-on with the reincarnation plate. Rumble. Boundless divine might spread out. The reincarnation plate pressed down, heavily injuring the immortal emperors. Even peak immortal emperors couldn't block the power of a saint artifact. The four immortal emperors were slapped down. Jiang Changkong controlled the reincarnation plate. Endless reincarnation power covered the void and sealed the space. Since they were here, they shouldn't think about leaving so easily. With a power that surpassed the limits of immortal emperors, these four immortal emperors could only be beaten up. Jiang Changkong didn't know where they got the courage to find trouble with the four of them. Chapter 717. The barrier around Jiang Changkong's territory was set up by 6 celestial emperors. That was why they could easily destroy it. Under the reincarnation disk suppression, the 4 celestial emperors couldn't resist at all and became Jiang Changkong's captives. He collected their resources and brought them back to the shrine. The 4 celestial emperors didn't have many resources. 7th grade celestial stones, 113 top grade ones, 220 top grade ones, 403 mid grade ones, 680 low grade ones. Total essence, energy, and spirit, 259, 800 compared to these 4 poor celestial kings. He might as well sweep them clean. The peak celestial emperor appeared. Jiang Changkong looked at this celestial emperor whose celestial power had been sealed. We are old rivals. How should I address you? Immortal slaying, Lu Cheng. The celestial emperor said coldly. Jiang Changkong, you better let me go. Otherwise, when the celestial sovereign of the immortal slaying sect comes, you will definitely die. Let's not talk about whether or not the celestial sovereign can kill me. You're in my hands now. Jiang Changkong said calmly. Lu Cheng said mockingly, can you kill me? As a peak celestial emperor, he naturally had celestial sovereign methods to protect himself. It was just that these methods were precious. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he really didn't want to use them. He gambled that Jiang Changkong wouldn't kill him. You're quite insightful. I can't kill you and I don't want to, Jiang Changkong said calmly. What does my immortal slaying sect have that makes you want to go there? The celestial emperor's gaze was cold. Jiang Changkong captured him because he wanted to go to the immortal slaying sect. If they really wanted to fall out or extort resources, it didn't matter if he captured him or not. The immortal slaying sect still had many celestial king disciples in Jiang Changkong's hands. The sect couldn't give them up. Jiang Changkong said calmly, naturally, it's what I want. I don't want to be enemies with the immortal slaying sect. You're already my enemy, Lu Cheng said coldly. If you want to be my enemy, I won't be afraid. Jiang Changkong said coolly, it was your people who joined forces first. The encirclement failed, and they were captured by this emperor's people. Oh right, you also said that we immortal emperors can't interfere in the battle at Mount Buzhou. Our skills are inferior, so we deserve it. Therefore, right now, you've broken my barrier and barged into my territory. That's the same as provoking me first. You also broke through the barrier of the immortal slaying sect, Lu Cheng said coldly. You let this emperor go, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Moreover, this emperor went over to interrogate, and you came to take him back. We are also here to question you. We don't want you. Lu Cheng's face turned green. Jiang Changkong said expressionlessly, I'm sorry, I don't want you to leave. Lu Cheng, this emperor has already informed Jinyuan, Peng Lai, and Demon Emperor about this. You know this in your heart. Jiang Changkong smiled faintly. The immortal slaying sect broke the rules, but it wasn't this emperor who broke the rules. If the immortal slaying sect wants to act, please consider the consequences. Alliance leader, Sun Wuxuan of the demon race, is here to see you. He wants to take away the demon captives. An immortal emperor walked in. Jiang Changkong waved his hand, and a ball of light flew out. The immortal kings of the demon race flew out. Send them back. Lu Cheng was silent. Did Jiang Changkong plan to only target the immortal slaying sect? Alliance leader, immortal Emperor Earth Spirit of the Heavenly Court is here to see you. Send them back. Jiang Changkong sent the immortal kings back. Lu Cheng's heart was unbalanced. This was really targeting them. Let them go, and this emperor will let you enter the immortal slaying sect. I'll give you 3 days, Lu Cheng said through gritted teeth. But this emperor suddenly doesn't want to go, Jiang Changkong said lightly. Lu Cheng's face turned cold. What on earth do you want? This emperor lost a Khanate spirit stone mine, 90% of it. Jiang Changkong lowered his eyes and sighed. This wasn't my immortal slaying sect's idea. You should go find Kuan Yu of the demon race, Lu Cheng said angrily. Apologies, the demon race has the demon emperor, and the heavenly court has the moon goddess. This emperor is friends with both of them. Jiang Changkong sighed. I'm sorry, your immortal slaying sect has nothing to do with me. Lu Cheng was stunned. It sounded like he was deliberately setting a trap for the immortal slaying sect. Who was more powerful, the demon master or the demon emperor? Would the demon emperor not notice the demon master's actions? Although they were brothers on the surface, the demon emperor also had the flower fruit mountain, and his strength wasn't weak. On the heavenly court side, there was the moon goddess Yu Xue and Violet Orchid. Although Violet Orchid's backer, Heavenly King Violet Myrtle, wasn't much. Fairy Yu Xue's status wasn't low either, and the moon goddess, an ancient immortal god, was assisting from the side. It shouldn't be difficult for her to pass the message, right? Thus, this sudden encirclement turned into a sudden encirclement. Now that their immortal kings were all unconditionally released, the remaining responsibility was all on the immortal slaying sect. What kind of logic was this? This was completely a trap for the immortal slaying sect. I won't compensate for the Khanate spirit stone mine, nor can I afford it, Lu Cheng said sullenly. How could they compensate for a 7th grade Khanate spirit stone mine? The immortal slaying sect could, but how many years of foundation did they have? Then, I'm sorry. Jiang Changkong waved his hand, and an immortal king appeared. Immortal Emperor Lu Cheng. Where do you think this emperor should start? Legs? Lu Cheng's expression changed. The immortal king's legs began to slowly disappear. Jiang Changkong, how dare you? Lu Cheng was furious. Boom! The immortal king exploded and turned to dust. Jiang Changkong's last bit of patience ran out. There's nothing this emperor doesn't dare to do. Not to mention an immortal king. Even if it's you, this emperor dares to kill you 1,000 times over if you don't have the means of an immortal venerable. I'll give you an hour. Go back and think about it. Jiang Changkong raised his palm, and immortal Emperor Lu Cheng's body cracked. The crisis of death loomed over him, and the means of an immortal venerable erupted. The reincarnation disk suppressed the void, and the divine hall cracked and almost shattered. Fortunately, Jiang Changkong operated the reincarnation disk with all his strength, stabilizing the divine hall and preventing it from spreading out. Immortal Emperor Lu Cheng had already left to think about how to compensate. Jiang Changkong didn't believe that the immortal slaying sect would give up on their own disciples. The divine hall quieted down, and Jiang Changkong took out the jade token. Lu Qingxian, help me contact Immortal Zhenxuan. Not long after, Immortal Zhenxuan's voice sounded. Your opportunity has come. Go by yourself. Opportunity? Opportunity to open the reincarnation disk? Jiang Changkong was stunned. I won't be going. I will inform the one from the immortal slaying sect, and he won't make things difficult for you. Don't kill too much, Immortal Zhenxuan said calmly. Thank you, Immortal Zhenxuan. If there's a need in the future, Jiang Changkong will do his best, Jiang Changkong said. Then I'll remember, if there's a day of proving the way, you can't just stand by. Immortal Zhenxuan smiled and hung up. Jiang Changkong put away the jade token. The opportunity to open the reincarnation disk was actually in the immortal slaying sect. The scroll given by the little dragon king needed the reincarnation disk to open. Was this also Hutu's arrangement? In less than a quarter of an hour, Lu Cheng contacted him. His voice was low. A spirit stone vein is impossible. At most, 3,000 pieces of inferior 7th grade. 3,000 pieces of inferior 7th grade. 300,000 pieces of essence, qi, and spirit. Jiang Changkong frowned. 3,000 pieces of top 7th grade, or 30,000 pieces of inferior 7th grade. Choose one. Didn't you say you wouldn't pay? Jiang Changkong, don't go too far. At most, 10,000 pieces of inferior 7th grade. Otherwise, kill them all. Deal. Lu Cheng was speechless. Chapter 718. Jiang Changkong arrived at the immortal slaying sect's territory. Lu Cheng's face was pale. His eyes were gloomy and full of resentment. Jiang Changkong had injured him twice already. Last time, he had a head injury. This time, his body had exploded. He had used an immortal venerable's technique and suffered a fatal injury. It would be difficult for him to recover in a short period of time. The resources needed to recover were enormous. Now, he had to pay 10,000 low-grade, 7th grade immortal stones. Jiang Changkong accepted the immortal stones. Another 1,000,000 essence, qi, and spirit stones. He had already accumulated more than 4 million. He was already halfway through the path of improvement. What exactly do you want? Lu Cheng stared at him. He did not believe that Jiang Changkong was here for a stroll. I forgot my things here. Come and get them. After saying that, Jiang Changkong handed the immortal king to him and left. With Little Dragon King's scroll, he knew where it was. A hint of coldness appeared on Lu Cheng's pale face. Our deal didn't say that I can't break it. Jiang Changkong had made him and the entire immortal slaying sect suffer heavy losses this time. How could he swallow this anger so easily? He wanted to find something in the immortal slaying sect. Even if he found it, he had to make sure that he could not take it away. Lu Cheng contacted a peak immortal emperor. Given his current state, it was not suitable for him to participate. He could only let the other immortal emperors take action. Jiang Changkong did not care about Lu Cheng's actions. He could not hide the treasure from the immortal slaying sect. If someone was looking for treasure in his territory, he would not be willing to take it. Venerable Zhen Xian said that this was his fortuitous opportunity. He was not afraid that the immortal slaying sect could take it away. He came to a spacious area. The ground was flat, and there were no weeds. Chaos divine power spread out, and the power of reincarnation dissipated. Buzz! The ground rippled like a stone thrown into a lake. A weak dragon aura spread out, and a golden vortex appeared on the ground. Jiang Changkong walked into the vortex and came to a strange space. It was a city similar to the one in the dusty East Sea. Although there was no Little Dragon King this time, the city gate could not stop him. He used his divine power to push open the stone gate. The formation was activated, but it was suppressed by him. Roar! A resounding dragon roar rang out as a golden divine dragon pounced over. The divine dragon, formed from immortal energy, had the strength of a late-stage immortal emperor. With a gentle sweep of his right palm, the divine dragon was destroyed directly. Jiang Changkong stepped on the immortal array and walked forward step by step. The palaces in the city were all connected, and Jiang Changkong entered one of the palaces. Just like before, there was a formation inside the palace and a passageway. Through the passageway was a huge container, and inside it was, Jiang Changkong's expression changed as he stared at the container. This container actually contained him? It was a human that looked exactly like him, but it was much larger. A creation of the primordial dragon clan, Jiang Changkong? Jiang Changkong stared blankly at the message. Stop fooling around. Create me? At that time, my name had already been decided. Inside the container, the huge him seemed to have come to life, revealing a strange and horrifying face. Jiang Changkong hurriedly took a few steps back. It was not that this creation was too strong, but this place was too strange. This place looked similar to the dusty East Sea from the outside, but from the looks of it now, the difference was huge. Let's go to the next container. Jiang Changkong's expression was gloomy as he walked to the next ruin. There was also a golden bridge here, and he could go take a look at it later. However, without the Little Dragon King, he probably couldn't disperse the ancestral dragon's power. "Why are you in such a hurry to leave?" A voice sounded out. Jiang Changkong paused and looked at the container behind him. "Are you talking to me?" The people from the immortal slaying sect hadn't entered yet, so the only one who could speak was the living being in the container. "You are me, and I am your opportunity." In the huge container, an identical living being spoke with a strange voice. "Only by accepting me and becoming one with me can you be perfect." Jiang Changkong frowned. His consciousness started to become heavy, and he was a little muddled. The samsara disc appeared, and the might of a sage artifact enveloped him. "I am perfect myself." Jiang Changkong snorted coldly. He regained his consciousness and strode away. "You won't be able to leave." A strange laugh came from the huge container. Jiang Changkong came to the next container, and there was still another version of himself inside, saying the same thing to him. Ignoring it, Jiang Changkong came to the ancient bridge with the samsara disc above his head and walked up. When he came to a higher point on the golden bridge, Jiang Changkong looked down. These containers weren't arranged in the shape of an ancestral dragon, but in the shape of a human. He looked at a bigger version of himself, who was smiling at him. "This is the final research of the ancient dragon race." Jiang Changkong frowned and took out the scroll that the little dragon king had given him. Buzz! A faint dragon might spread out, and a golden divine dragon flew out from the scroll, covering Xiao Chen's eyes. Jiang Changkong was stunned. Everything in front of him had changed. Those containers were no longer him. There was only some liquid and nothing else. 3 immortal emperors had arrived. 2 were at the peak, and 1 was at the limit. The 3 immortal emperors looked at the containers in horror, as if they had seen something unbelievable. Did they see themselves too? This place wasn't to study him, but to show who was who. Jiang Changkong was stunned. If he entered the device and completed the so-called fusion, what would the result be? The scroll changed again. The samsara disc also released the power of reincarnation. The two merged, and the picture of a city appeared on the scroll. A golden light spot appeared, which was the highest point of the ancient bridge that he was standing on. And the way to open it was the samsara disc. The power of reincarnation descended and entered the ancient bridge. Buzz! The ancient bridge under his feet suddenly changed. It was eerie and strange, without the aura of a true dragon or the dragon might. Like a ghost bridge, 6 paths appeared in front of him. The samsara disc shook. Jiang Changkong felt as if he was being torn apart. The pain of his soul being torn apart made his face pale. 5 figures walked out of his body and stepped onto the 5 paths. How ruthless! Jiang Changkong cursed the samsara disc in his heart and stepped onto the 6th path. In the 6 paths, Jiang Changkong could clearly feel that his other 5 clones were split from his soul, which was also him. 1 turned into a bird, 1 into an Azura, 1 into an evil spirit, and 1 without any desires seemed to have disappeared. He couldn't see it, but he could feel it. The last one was the same as him. There was no change, but there was a cold and hot alternating under his feet. There was an invisible force tearing his body, roasting him, freezing him, and then recovering. His main body walked the best path. Of course, it was also painful. He felt as if there were thousands of mountains pressing down on him, and there were mountains of knives and seas of fire under his feet, but he couldn't retreat. He could only move forward step by step. His divine power had lost its effect, and his powerful Tao body was extremely weak at this moment. Jiang Changkong felt that the mystic Zhen Celestial was fooling him. No wonder he didn't come. This ordeal was a little difficult for him to bear. From the moment he came to this world until now, Jiang Changkong had suffered countless injuries. He had stabbed himself and split his soul. He had climbed the heavenly palace, and countless divine swords had made him a bloody mess. Thinking of his past experiences, Jiang Changkong gradually calmed down. Since it was an opportunity, he would take it. There was no suffering that he couldn't bear because he couldn't retreat. As long as he didn't die, what was there to be afraid of? However, could he not turn into a pig? Chapter 719. He turned into a bird and was beaten to death. He turned into a pig and was fattened for meat. He had transformed into an Azura, created a sin of slaughter, and was slain by others. He turned into an evil ghost and was beaten to death. Jiang Changkong felt that his soul was being torn apart bit by bit and weakening bit by bit. He could no longer sense what was going on outside. All he could do was continue to advance along the 6 paths. When his other paths died, the reincarnation disc would split his soul and form a new him. His soul and body were both being weakened. Jiang Changkong didn't know if he could reach the end. These 6 passageways seemed to have no end. All sorts of pain and feelings surged in his heart. He forgot about time and space. Jiang Changkong was immersed in it and could not escape. His aura became weaker and weaker, and his strength was falling. From a high and mighty immortal emperor to an immortal king, then to an immortal lord, he had fallen to the level of a mortal. Back then, before he had even stepped onto the path of cultivation, before he had condensed astral chi, the reincarnation disc disappeared. He could not sense the heavenly Tao fragment, the fiend ancestor immortal position, and the demonic spear fragment in his body. Jiang Changkong was still moving forward, and he still could not see the end of the path. Woo! A cold wind blew, and an evil aura came from Jiang Changkong's body. Blood souls flew out. Wu slaying sword. Jiang Changkong's body was forcefully stopped by the thousands of blood souls. The Wu slaying sword appeared in front of him and released an evil aura to stop him from moving forward. His strength had already fallen to the mortal realm. If he continued, he might die. Countless blood souls turned into a wall and blocked the path. Jiang Changkong held the sword hilt with his right hand. He did not expect this grade 7 immortal artifact to help him. Was it because of the human race? Buzz. The void in front of him fluctuated and a hazy figure appeared. It was blurry and indistinct. It was so close, yet so far away. It was unlike this space. Although it was less than 2 meters away, it seemed to be separated from time and space. Since you can't move forward, why not stop earlier? An indifferent voice came from the blurry figure. Jiang Changkong stared at the figure in front of him. I will never stop, never. Holding the Wu-slaying sword, Jiang Changkong moved it gently. The wall disappeared, and Jiang Changkong continued forward. His feet were dissipating, just like when he killed others. You will die, the blurry figure said coldly. It's better than staying stagnant and sinking forever. Jiang Changkong supported himself with the Wu-slaying sword. Wu! The witch-slaying sword trembled and released a mournful cry, not wanting him to continue forward. The blurry figure said indifferently, I don't agree. No matter what you do, you won't be able to take it away. If I don't move forward, you will never agree. Jiang Changkong said firmly, no one wants to find a person who gives up so easily to pass on their treasure. But I hope that you will stop at the right time like now. The blurry figure trembled, and a force blocked Jiang Changkong. I won't stop, never. Jiang Changkong's legs disappeared. The witch-slaying sword slashed through the energy barrier and continued forward. The blurry figure paused and stared at him. I once looked up to the near God. People say that those below the near God are ants. In the end, I stepped on the near God and opened the door to immortality. I once looked up to the Heavenly King. Now, the Heavenly King is like an ant before me. Now, I look up to the saint. Jiang Changkong's body disappeared, leaving only his head, which was still rolling. Whether it's the near God, the immortal king, or even the saint, they're all just powerful beings. Only by moving forward, without stopping, could he step on all of them. They would look up to him, and he would not look up to them. The last bit of black hair disappeared, and only the Wu-slaying sword remained. Boom! The 6 passages shook, and a gray light shone. Then, it enlarged and turned into a huge gray light. The gray light shone through the 6 passages and suppressed the Wu-slaying sword. The blurry figure stared at him. The gray light gradually condensed, and his hands and feet appeared. His divine body reformed, and his scattered divine soul returned to its place. His 3 eyes shone brightly at the same time. The heavenly eye between his eyebrows had an eerie aura, as if it contained a part of hell. You've already failed in the death just now, the blurry figure said lightly. Success or failure, it's all up to you, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. You still gave the opportunity to me. He was really about to die just now. The blurry figure in front of him saved him and modified his heavenly eye. Now, it could be called the chaotic reincarnation heavenly eye or the chaotic netherworld heavenly eye. The Wu-slaying sword buzzed and automatically disintegrated, turning into countless blood souls that entered the heavenly eye. Success or failure, it was all up to the host. The person in front of him was powerful. If she said it would succeed, it would succeed. If she said it would fail, it would fail. One day, I'll find a new master for the reincarnation disc. The blurry figure sighed slightly. Then, why don't you stop? Why don't you just walk away and let your descendants bear the responsibility? Jiang Changkong stared at the 6 passages under his feet. At this moment, they had become complete. This was the reincarnation disc. 6 paths of reincarnation. The blurry figure slowly dissipated, and an indifferent voice sounded. The reincarnation disc can be opened for the dragon race's treasure. The figure dissipated, and the reincarnation disc under his feet appeared in his hand. It was densely covered with ancient divine runes, containing the mysterious 6 paths of reincarnation. 3 baleful auras were hidden deep within. The real reincarnation disc could activate the 6 paths of reincarnation. No one below the sage could escape. Everyone could enter reincarnation. This was the opportunity that celestial Venerable Zhen Xian had mentioned. Once activated, one could fight celestial venerables. Jiang Changkong looked at his own data. There were no changes. Huta didn't help him improve his chaotic Tao body this time. Everything in front of him dissipated, and Jiang Changkong appeared on the ancient bridge again. He already had the information about the dragon race's treasure and could open it at any time. He looked down at the 3 celestial emperors of the immortal slaying sect. 2 of them seemed to have gone crazy. I'm not complete yet. I'm not complete yet. A peak celestial emperor with messy hair actually entered the vessel directly. He swallowed the liquid in big mouthfuls, his face filled with infatuation. The other peak celestial emperor was the same, crazily eating the liquid in the vessel. The limit celestial emperor's expression was gloomy. He wanted to save them, but he couldn't. He was also affected, and his strength fell greatly. Jiang Changkong looked at the 2 celestial emperors and discovered that there were many strange patterns on their bodies. Suddenly, the limit celestial emperor saw Jiang Changkong on the ancient bridge. He wanted to fly into the sky, but he seemed to have thought of something and decided to run instead. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent as he watched the limit celestial emperor run over. The 2 peak celestial emperors acted like they didn't know the limit celestial emperor at all. They didn't care about him at all and just enjoyed the liquid inside. Jiang Changkong. A furious voice rang out. The limit celestial emperor's expression was cold, and his celestial aura was vast. Jiang Changkong glanced at him. Why? Your people have gone crazy and want to find trouble with me? What's wrong with them? The limit celestial emperor said coldly. Since you came here, you obviously know everything. Release them immediately. Firstly, you came here on your own accord. I didn't force you to come here. Jiang Changkong said coldly. Now that something has happened, what's the point of finding me? Chapter 720. You came all the way here. Do you think you have no way to deal with this? The immortal emperor coldly spoke. Please correct your position. Jiang Changkong said coolly. This emperor doesn't need a single move to kill you. The countenance of the limitless immortal emperor turned cold as a long sword appeared in his hand. Try it then. Grade 8 God artifact. The immortal slaying sect is truly generous. In that case, this emperor will kindly accept it. Jiang Changkong said indifferently. The reincarnation disc floated behind him. Immortal slaying. With a cold shout, he used his ultimate move. Dazzling white light shone as he attempted to lock Jiang Changkong in place. An 8th grade immortal artifact, longsword with the might of an immortal venerable, was unfathomable. The extremely fast sword cut through the void, and no one could see its shadow. I'll use you as a test. 6 paths reincarnation. Jiang Changkong snorted coldly and did not move. The 6 paths of reincarnation disc released a sinister, saintly might. The wheel of reincarnation activated its mighty power. It wasn't like before, when it could only suppress the void and release the wheel of reincarnation's power. The 6 Daos converged like 6 worlds, forming the netherworld. 6 pitch-black whirlpools appeared, and the charging limit immortal emperor's body froze. The 6 paths power tore apart his body and shook his soul. The limitless immortal emperor was sent flying at an even faster speed, tumbling down the ancient bridge. The 8th-rank immortal sword became dim and fell onto the ancient bridge. Jiang Changkong picked it up and held it in his hand. The suppressive power of the cycle disc rendered this inferior grade 8 immortal equipment unable to resist at all. It was extremely obedient. Casually tossing it into a whirlpool, the remnant aura and imprint of an immortal venerate would also be erased. Looking at the peak stage immortal emperor tumbling down, Jiang Changkong spoke calmly. Immortal venerable, do you recognize the difference? I have no obligation to save people, nor do I know how to save people. You can ask an immortal venerable to try. Jiang Changkong really did not know how to save them. Even if he knew, it would not be easy to save them. The transformation of this place was really strange. He did not know if the immortal venerables could save people. Now it was better to take the things away first. The cycle disc released a wisp of dragon might. Space tore open, and a huge dragon claw grabbed Jiang Changkong and the wheel of reincarnation, dragging him in. The space returned to normal. The peak-level immortal emperor's expression was extremely cold, but he had no choice but to contact the immortal lord. In a world filled with dragon might, a gigantic immortal power divine, dragon the size of a mountain, looked down on him. Jiang Changkong looked at the divine dragon. Celestial Lord, to be able to create an immortal venerate divine dragon with immortal energy, the ancient dragon race's strength was unfathomable. Human, the celestial dragon shrunk and looked at him in confusion. Jiang Changkong sized up the area. It was very spacious. There were more than 10 instruments on the ground and thousands of huge pits. I'm also the acting Dragon King of the Eastern Sea. Jiang Changkong cupped his fists and said, Are you the guardian divine dragon left behind by the dragon race? Sort of. The dragon god shook his head and brought him to the sky above the pit. Did you find a dragon egg? Dragon eggs? Jiang Changkong was taken aback as he looked at the pits. There used to be dragon eggs here? There are 1,000 dragon eggs here. They were taken away by a woman with a reincarnation disc. The dragon god was a little sad. With a hint of hope, he said, Did you see it? You have the aura of the reincarnation disc on you. It's that woman's aura. Jiang Changkong shook his head. I only got the reincarnation disc. I didn't see the dragon eggs. However, she took away the dragon eggs. She shouldn't have hurt them. 1,000 dragon eggs, if hatched, would be 1,000 true dragons. Why did Hutu come here to take away the dragon eggs? Did she take the dragon eggs away? Did she take them away from this world? Or did she hide them somewhere else? The dragon god fell down sorrowfully and stared at the pit of dragon eggs in a daze. His mission had been to protect these dragon eggs, but the dragon eggs had long since disappeared. Can you tell me about Hutu, that woman? Jiang Changkong asked. Her name is Hutu? The dragon god was a little confused. Who is Hutu? Jiang Changkong. This was probably a stupid dragon. Could it be that Hutu changed his memory? Jiang Changkong thought of the moon goddess. She had problems with her memory too. Can these instruments still be used? Jiang Changkong looked at the instruments. The ones used by the dragon clan should be at the immortal level. They weren't broken, right? The dragon god shook his head, indicating that he didn't know. Jiang Changkong was a little helpless. He didn't know how to use the instruments either. The dragon god turned to look at him. You have the aura of the dragon clan on you. I am the acting Dragon King. The Dragon King sent me here. Jiang Changkong took out the dragon skin map. The dragon god glanced at it and dug at the side. Soon he dug out a stone slab. Here, ancestral dragon scripture. Jiang Changkong was surprised. The stone slab recorded the complete version of the ancestral dragon scripture. There should be other treasures in the primordial dragon clan's treasury. Are there any innate spirit stones here? Jiang Changkong asked. Some immortal stone powder and some. The dragon god pointed ahead and said, "You can take them out. What about these instruments?" Jiang Changkong understood what he meant. What can't be taken away? Other than the immortal stone powder and the ancestral dragon scripture, you can't take anything else. The dragon god shook his head. The heavenly Tao doesn't allow these things. Jiang Changkong was a little disappointed. He wanted to take the instruments out and find someone who knew how to study them. The venerable Zhen Xian might know something about them. Jiang Changkong went to look at the immortal stone powder. There were 4. 1,000,000 essence, qi, and spirit. He quickly put it away. When his essence, qi, and spirit reached 8,000,000, he could perfect his mystic art. Not in a hurry to improve, Jiang Changkong asked, "What's going on outside?" "Why did I come in?" He told the dragon about the container. The dragon god said calmly, "What that woman modified is the hutu you mentioned. After eating that liquid, they will stay here forever. They can't leave. Once they walk out of the city, they will be crushed and resurrected in the container. They will be trapped here forever. They can't die unless everything here is destroyed." Jiang Changkong secretly rejoiced that he was not fooled by the container. It was looking for a guardian to guard this place. "I took away the treasure. What else is worth guarding here?" Jiang Changkong frowned. "Is there anything special here?" "Special?" The dragon god tilted his head and thought for a moment. "Yes, a map." "Map? Where?" "Is it the map of the ancient dragon clan's departure?" Jiang Changkong asked quickly. The dragon god paused and looked at him in confusion. "The dragon clan left? Where did they go?" Jiang Changkong. "Hutu, did you make a Shinran?" The mystical dragon dug out a map. On the map, it was a blurry and chaotic mess. Jiang Changkong's reincarnation heavenly eye moved. The chaos dissipated, and a divine mountain appeared on it. Mount Buzhou. Did it leave Mount Buzhou? Or was this another relic? How many things did the Huda do? He could not go up Mount Buzhou. How many things are buried underground? Jiang Changkong could not help but dig. These things were dug out from underground. Was the dragon clan's treasure underground? The dragon god did not stop him and watched him dig. Soon, Jiang Changkong really dug out something. It was a gray bone that emitted dragon might. "This is..." Jiang Changkong was stunned. "Dragon bone, buried by the Hutu," the dragon god said. Jiang Changkong frowned. "Buried by the Hutu?" This gray bone emitted the aura of chaos. Was it a dragon of chaos that was killed? Chapter 721. After digging out all the dragon bones, Jiang Changkong pieced them together. It was a chaotic dragon. Even though only the dragon bones were left, its aura was still extremely powerful. Jiang Changkong discovered that there were immortal runes on the dragon bones. "This is..." Jiang Changkong looked at the nervous dragon. The only reply he got was a shake of the head. The nervous dragon did not know what the immortal runes were, so Jiang Changkong could only study them himself. In a vast chaos, the dragons are born. They travel through chaos and pursue the great Tao. The chaotic dragons hide and search for the tributary of time to pursue eternity. Jiang Changkong had a strange expression. The immortal runes were from ancient times. They were either left by the dragons or Hutu. The tributary of the river of time flows. The chaotic dragon bone guides the immortals to pursue the mark of time. The dragons lead the way. The dragons are pursuing the tributary of time? Isn't the tributary of the river of time left by the ancient immortals? Jiang Changkong was a little confused. He couldn't understand what was going on. Wasn't the tributary of the river of time left by the ancient immortals? Why were the ancient dragons pursuing it? Puzzled, Jiang Changkong put away the chaotic dragon bone. He continued to look at the map. There was only one route to Mount Buzhou, and nothing else was marked. "This dragon bone is not tolerated by the heavenly Tao," the nervous dragon reminded. "I have the reincarnation disc to suppress it. It should be fine," Jiang Changkong said in a low voice. If it was a complete heavenly Tao, it might be able to detect it, but it was incomplete now. He had the Supreme Sky Emperor's means to protect himself and the reincarnation disc. He should be able to barely hide it. Of course, he was just giving it a try. He could not guarantee that he would come back and take the device away if possible. If he could not hide it, he would go straight to the chaos. This was the only item to find the tributary of the River of Time. The ancient immortal's route of departure should also be hidden in the tributary. The nervous dragon did not stop him and lay to the side. There's nothing underground. Jiang Changkong nodded. I'll stay here for a while and then leave. Sorry for the trouble. Up to you. Remember to bring the ancestral dragon scripture to the Dragon King, the nervous dragon said. You don't plan to go out? Jiang Changkong raised his eyebrows. This crazy dragon was an immortal venerable. Shenron rolled his eyes. You're such a stupid human. I'm just a condensation of immortal energy, not a real dragon. Jiang Changkong, all right, you can continue to be crazy on the side. I'll level up first. Shenlong should only be able to exist in this space. At most, he could only go to the city, unable to leave. Jiang Changkong raised his mystic technique and directly stepped into the peak of the Immortal Emperor's stage. The heavenly Tao fragment fluctuated again, helping him accelerate his transformation. His mystic art had reached perfection, and his Hundun divine energy, green light, and innate divine runes were all condensed and strengthened to a whole new level. The essence of the law of primal chaos was also close to perfection. Jiang Changkong tried his best to suppress the fluctuations of his divine power as his chaos divine power surged. His aura was faintly discernible, but Shenlong could still sense it. He looked at him in surprise. This power had completely surpassed the immortal emperor realm. In fact, it was comparable to an immortal reverend who had just broken through. If the wheel of samsara was included, the nervous dragon didn't dare to think about it anymore. Endless power continued to increase, condense, and compress. The mysterious law of primal chaos shrouded Jiang Changkong, making him look like a piece of chaos. 2 hours later, Jiang Changkong opened his eyes. Everything was restrained, and he returned to normal. The divine power in his body had increased by more than 10 times. Ordinary peak immortal emperors would at most be able to deal with him with one finger. Jiang Changkong, peak immortal emperor, god emperor, 7 transformations mystic art, perfection, 1/32 million innate chaotic Tao body, Deshang 1/8 million golden crow immortal sutra, perfection, 4 million essence, spirit, and energy, 35820. He stood up, and the primal chaos was restrained. He looked at Shenlong and said, I'm leaving. Shenlong waved his hand, and the space split open. Go! Jiang Changkong entered the spatial crack and came back to the city. The peak immortal emperors had already left, and the 2 peak immortal emperors were still in a container, swallowing the liquid and pursuing perfection. A few of the containers were already broken. Jiang Changkong went back the way he came, and the 2 peak immortal emperors did not stop him and let him go. After leaving the city, Jiang Changkong appeared on the ground. The heavenly Tao had already appeared in the sky. An extreme sense of danger came, and Jiang Changkong hurriedly left the immortal slaying sect's territory and rushed into the primal chaos. As soon as he left, 2 figures appeared, and one of them was the peak immortal emperor from before. Sect leader, are you letting him go just like that? The peak immortal emperor had an ugly expression. The immortal slaying sect leader's expression changed slightly. I'll go and take a look. As an immortal venerable, although he was not a powerful one, he could tell that Jiang Changkong had provoked the heavenly Tao. He was very curious. How could a heavenly god of justice, who was known to be impartial, offend the heavenly Tao? What did Jiang Changkong obtain in that strange city? He had personally gone down there, but he had no way to save the 2 immortal emperors. He had wanted to wait for Jiang Changkong to come out before letting them go. As Jiang Changkong flew, he felt that the heavenly Tao had been watching him. Clearly, the heavenly Tao did not intend to let him go. The chaotic dragon bone had completely angered the heavenly Tao, even though he had the immortal position of justice. The greatest use of the Supreme Sky Emperor's methods was to hide one's cultivation level, not to hide treasures. Even an incomplete heavenly Tao is so vigilant. Jiang Changkong felt helpless. Rumble. Bolts of golden lightning descended, sealing off the surroundings. Jiang Changkong's expression changed slightly, and his chaotic divine power covered his body. Rumble. The golden lightning continued to descend, but it could not break through the divine power defense. Jiang Changkong heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, although the heavenly Tao was powerful, its attack was not very strong. He hurriedly sped up and left. He did not want to wait for the heavenly Tao to accumulate power and let the lightning power reach the immortal venerable level. The heavenly Tao did not attack, but the clouds in the sky became darker and darker, and the pressure of the lightning became more and more terrifying. It was accumulating power. Jiang Changkong's speed kept increasing, and he was about to leave Mount Buzhou. Cracks also appeared in the void. He heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he could tear open space, he could reach the chaos. He would be fine. If the heavenly Tao was perfected, even if he could tear open space, he might not be able to reach the chaos. The power of the heavenly Tao could also seal off heaven and earth, so that even immortal venerables could not break open space. Jiang Changkong turned into a ray of light, entered the spatial crack, and entered the vast chaos. The immortal venerable of the immortal slaying sect hurriedly followed. Apart from him, there were also immortal emperors and immortal venerables who tore open space and entered the chaos. In the sky, the lightning slowly dissipated and the world returned to calm. The movement of the heavenly Tao had already alarmed all the immortal venerables in the heaven realm. These immortal venerables were curious about what had happened. Even if they did not go personally, they would send people to check what had happened. Immortal venerable Zhan Xian personally chased into the chaos. He was a little puzzled. The opportunity had clearly arrived. So why did it turn out like this? Jiang Changkong entered the chaos and sensed the experts chasing behind him. He was a little shocked. The heavenly Tao still could not find trouble with him. So he simply stopped and waited for the immortal venerables and immortal emperors to arrive. The reincarnation plate appeared, and Jiang Changkong secretly activated his chaos divine power. If something went wrong, he would immediately take action. Fellow Taoist Jiang, why are you in such a hurry? Immortal Venerable Zhan Xian arrived with a smile, ahead of all the experts. Chapter 722. Venerable Zhan Xian. Jiang Changkong bowed. Greetings, Venerable Zhan Xian. The Celestial Supremes and Celestial Emperors arrived and greeted him. They all had to give face to this ancient celestial supremacy. He was a true peak existence in the celestial world. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. May I know why you are chasing me? Alliance Master Jiang, I am the sect master of the Immortal Slaying Sect. You caused trouble in the Immortal Slaying Sect, and two peak celestial emperors of the Immortal Slaying Sect can't get away. Alliance Master Jiang, please be merciful and release the restriction to let them out. The sect master of the Immortal Slaying Sect was very polite. He had no choice but to be polite since Venerable Zhan Xian was here. Venerable Zhan Xian frowned slightly. Taoist Jiang, if possible, let them go. Jiang Changkong shook his head. This has nothing to do with me. They wanted to follow me in and were imprisoned by the restriction set by the ancient dragon race and Sage Hutu. Only a sage can break it. This. Venerable Zhan Xian was slightly stunned and sighed. Celestial supremacy, I warned you before. Why didn't you listen to my advice? They sneaked in without me knowing. The sect master of the Immortal Slaying Sect frowned. Is there really no way to break it? The reincarnation disc? Unless a sage is alive, Jiang Changkong said with certainty. What happened just now? Why did the heavenly Tao attack you? And celestial supremacy asked. It should be an instrument that I brought out. Jiang Changkong thought for a while and said, that instrument has been destroyed by the chaotic qi. Really? The celestial supremacy didn't believe it. This was a device from the ancient era. It might contain important information. Would Jiang Changkong allow the primal chaos to destroy it? If you don't believe me, there's nothing I can do, Jiang Changkong said with a hint of helplessness. How can I keep something that the heavenly Tao doesn't tolerate? The celestial supremacy and celestial emperors only sneered and didn't say anything. Venerable Zhan Xian thought for a moment and said, "According to the current rules, it belongs to whoever finds it, right? Even if Taoist Jiang doesn't take it out, there's no reason for you to take it away." The immortal sovereigns and immortal emperors were stunned. That's right, just like the primal chaos beasts from before. Why should they be handed over to them? Disperse, all of you. If you want to find fellow Jiang and get the device, you might as well contact her in private. Venerable Zhan Xian waved his hand. Farewell. An immortal emperor clasped his hands and turned to leave. The other immortal emperors looked at each other and turned to leave. The celestial venerables also left one after another. Although the sect master of the immortal slaying sect didn't want to give up, he couldn't do anything with celestial venerable Zhan Xian standing in the way. Jiang Changkong breathed a sigh of relief. He knew that they were giving face to venerable Zhan Xian. If it were him, these immortal sovereigns might not let the matter rest. Fellow Taoist, it shouldn't be a device, right? Venerable Zhan Xian smiled faintly. Jiang Changkong was slightly moved. Why does immortal venerable say that? There are many instruments. The heavenly Tao will not be so angry. The Zhan Xian, the celestial, stroked his beard and said with a smile, "It should be something more serious." Jiang Changkong sighed softly. "I really can't hide it from Senior Celestial. It's a dragon skeleton, the chaotic dragons." As he spoke, he took out the dragon bone. The immortal runes on it were not hidden. When the dragon bone appeared, it actually automatically formed a bone dragon under the guidance of the chaotic aura, wanting to leave. Venerable Zhan Xian's expression changed slightly. A green light suppressed the bone dragon. Is it going to chase after that tributary of the River of Time? Does Senior Celestial intend to? Jiang Changkong asked. Having a powerful immortal venerable following him was also a guarantee. He could still trust Venerable Zhan Xian. The other party had helped him a lot. Venerable Zhan Xian pondered for a while, suppressed the bone dragon, and returned it to him. This thing is suppressed in the chaos. With my strength, I can't go for the time being. Senior Celestial, you mean? Jiang Changkong was a little surprised. Venerable Zhan Xian actually said that it was not safe. After leaving the heaven realm and entering the chaos, you and I will be like rootless duckweed. Moreover, the chaos is everywhere, and we may not be able to find our way back. Venerable Zhan Xian considered a lot. Senior Celestial, the heaven realm is chaotic, and the immortal spirits are hidden. I can't leave. It seems that I can only make a trip by myself, Jiang Changkong said. There's no hurry. Venerable Zhan Xian said indifferently. I will help you seal the dragon bone in the chaos first. When I make an item that can cross the chaos and contact the heaven realm, you can go. Senior Celestial actually has such a method? Jiang Changkong was surprised. Although he could still contact his secondary body in the chaos, that was because they were not far apart. If he went too deep or encountered any situation, it was very likely that the connection would be cut off. Just like the moon goddess and her main body, he could only sense that they were still alive. You should thank Patriarch Yangmei back then. Venerable Zhan Xian smiled and said, this primordial chaos saint can travel through the chaos and understands it very well. Then I'll have to trouble you, Senior Celestial. Jiang Changkong bowed again. There's no need to be polite. I'm also very curious about what exactly is hidden in the tributary of the River of Time. Venerable Zhan Xian suppressed the Chaos Bone Dragon and took out a jade token and handed it to him. This jade token could sense the seal and unlock it. The two left the chaos together and returned to the heaven realm. After returning to his territory, Jiang Changkong came to the barrier of Mount Buzhou. He still couldn't enter. This barrier really didn't recognize people. Alliance Master, Immortal Emperor Di Ling of the Heavenly Court requests an audience. An immortal emperor came and said respectfully, bring him to the temple, Jiang Changkong said lightly. They came really fast. I just returned and they ran over. Or, they didn't leave at all? Just as he was about to go to the temple, another immortal emperor came. Alliance Master, Immortal Emperor Chu Hong of the Divine Court, Jia Tianshi of the Immortal Court and Demon Master of the Demon Court request an audience. Bring them to the temple together. Jiang Changkong quickly walked to the temple. These four major forces were very active in the research of ancient immortals and gods. Returning to the temple, the four immortal emperors, whether they were willing or not, all cupped their hands and said, "Greetings, Alliance Master Jiang." "Take a seat," Jiang Changkong said lightly. "Alliance Master Jiang, I think you know why we are here." Chu Hong stood up and said bluntly, "The instrument." Jiang Changkong frowned slightly. "The instrument has been destroyed. I don't know what's inside." "There can only be one in the ancient dragon race's research site," Jia Tianshi said. "Since they can bring one out, they can bring out a second or even a third." Jiang Changkong raised his eyebrows. "Are you going to buy it?" "Alliance Master Jiang, you can think so," Immortal Emperor Di Ling said. "This wasn't the time for them to settle their grudges. It's expensive to bring out the instrument," Jiang Changkong said calmly. "Moreover, the contents of the instrument might not exist anymore. I can't be sure if the ancient dragon race destroyed it. We can verify this. As long as Alliance Master Jiang is willing to bring out the instrument and doesn't delete it, we'll accept it even if it's empty," Jia Tianshi said. "Just send someone to prevent me from deleting it," Jiang Changkong said calmly. "I won't use the instrument. We believe in Alliance Master Jiang. There's no need to send someone." Chu Hong smiled. "The Divine Court is willing to pay 10,000 low-grade, 7th-grade immortal stones." Chapter 723. Demon Master Kuan Yu said, "The Demon Court is also willing to pay 10,000 low-grade immortal stones." The other two factions also spoke up. 10,000 low-grade immortal stones. "You really look down on me." Jiang Changkong's expression turned cold. "Or are you looking down on the ancient dragon race?" "Alliance Lord Jiang, no one can guarantee that the equipment inside is still working and the information is still complete." Chu Hong smiled. 10,000 is not a small amount. It's free for you. Jiang Changkong only needed to go in and bring the equipment out to get 10,000 low-grade immortal stones. Even if the equipment was empty, they would still give him the immortal stones. Jiang Changkong fell into deep thought. He wanted more. Xia Tianshi said, "It's a waste to leave that thing there. It's useless even if you take it." 10,000 for one. "How many do you want?" Jiang Changkong said. "Just one," Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor said. Jiang Changkong, "You only want 1 a dozen equipment? Shouldn't you want all of them?" "One." Jiang Changkong couldn't help but remind them. What information can one equipment have? Why don't you want a few more? The four Immortal Emperors shook their heads. Chu Hong said calmly, "We want it. We just want to verify some information. We've already studied the ancient immortal gods." Jiang Changkong fell silent. The four factions had ruled the celestial world for countless years. They had opened a few hundred test fields in the mortal world. They really knew a lot about the ancient immortal gods. "How about 20,000? Jiang Changkong didn't want to give up. Chu Hong said firmly, "Not one more. That's what the Celestial Arch wants." The other three Immortal Emperors were the same. Jiang Changkong said helplessly, "Fine, 10,000 it is. Tell the Immortal Slaying Sect that I'll go there again. Goodbye." The four Immortal Emperors left at the same time. Jiang Changkong sent a message to Zhang Xian to ask if he could unlock the equipment. "Taoist Jiang, I'm interested in the remaining equipment. I'll study it and share the information," Zhang Xian said. "Thank you," Jiang Changkong said. "There's no need to stand on ceremony. I'm just curious. When you come out, I'll join forces with them to tear a hole in space near the Immortal Slaying Sect. Then, you can escape into the primal chaos." After a brief discussion, the two of them ended the call. Jiang Changkong contacted the Demon Sovereign and passed the contents of the ancestral dragon scripture to him, so that he could deliver it to the Eastern Sea. The demon race's Alhai nation was still there, so it wasn't difficult to send something to the EC. The Immortal Slaying Sect side had also come to an agreement. Jiang Changkong once again entered the Immortal Slaying Sect's ruins. At the research site, Shenlong was stunned when he saw him, but he did not pay much attention to him. "I have passed the ancestral dragon scripture to the Dragon King," said Jiang Changkong as he kept the instrument. Lying on the ground, Shenron raised his head. Remember to find the dragon egg. I will. I will protect the dragon race. After Jiang Changkong finished speaking, he left with the equipment. After leaving the city, a huge spatial rift appeared in front of him. The heavenly Tao was furious again, but not as serious as before. Jiang Changkong directly entered the spatial rift. There were 5 blurry figures there. Their auras were restrained, and he couldn't tell how strong they were. One of them was Venerable Zhenxian. Fellow Taoist Jiang, the immortal stones are here. After receiving the immortal stones, Jiang Changkong took out the instrument. All of them are here. Choose one. The 4 blurry figures each took one and disappeared. Venerable Zhenxian took the rest and left with Jiang Changkong. I will contact you in 3 days. Jiang Changkong nodded and returned to the temple to cultivate in seclusion. The matter of Mount Buzhou was reported again. Sun Li and the others had already begun to explore it. As for the Khanate Spirit Stone Mine, the 2 celestial sects were helping to excavate it. The major forces of the Heaven Realm had only just climbed up Mount Buzhou to explore. They didn't know how long it would take to find the treasure map. Jiang Changkong manifested with his divine power, and they explored the situation of Mount Buzhou. 2 days passed in a flash. Sun Li returned with a solemn expression. Alliance Master. Sun Li returned, but didn't speak directly. Instead, he looked outside the door. Jiang Changkong set up a divine power barrier. Speak. An item appeared on Mount Buzhou. We can't take it, so we came back to ask for help. Sun Li said in a low voice, It's a small tree. It's very strange. We can't destroy it no matter what, but it doesn't fight back. We can't pull it out. What does the small tree look like? Jiang Changkong asked. There are 12 small people on it. They have a very strange shape. Sun Li said, and used his divine power to transform the small tree. The 12 small people were hanging on the tree. All of them were strange creatures. Jiang Changkong's expression changed drastically. One of them had a human body and a snake's tail. It had 7 hands on its back and 2 hands in front of its chest. Hutu. It had a bird head and a human body riding 2 dragons. It was the ancestor of Wood's sorcery, Zhu Meng. It had a human head and a dragon's body, and was completely red. It was the ancestor of Time's sorcery, Candle Dragon. It was like a yellow sack and was as red as alchemic fire. It had 6 legs and 4 wings. The 12 small people were the 12 ancestor sorcerers. Alliance Master, what should we do now? Sun Li asked respectfully. Jiang Changkong frowned. The 12 ancestor sorcerer trees? How could such a strange thing appear on Mount Buzhou? After thinking for a moment, he released the power of reincarnation and his immortal blood. Take these 2 things and try them. His Tao body and the 7 revolutions' mysterious art should work with the power of reincarnation, right? He could only try. Speaking of which, he had nothing to do with the 12 ancestor sorcerers. He had only obtained the opportunity that Hutu had left behind. Yes. Sun Li took the items and turned to leave. Don't tell anyone about this. You must keep it a secret, including Jinyuan, Peng Lai, the demon race, and the ghost race. Jiang Changkong warned him. I understand. Sun Li took the order and left. Jiang Changkong closed his eyes. Something strange had happened on Demon Emperor's side. Fiend Monarch, this subordinate, discovered a huge boulder at Buzhou Mountain. There are 10 fiend commanders inside, and they seem to be sealed. Sun Wuxing said respectfully. The 10 demon marshals? Demon Emperor's eyes narrowed. Why would these dead demons appear on Mount Buzhou? And why are they sealed? The 12 ancestor sorcerers on the tree and the 10 demon marshals on the rock. All of them should have died in the primordial era. Could it be that the ancient immortals had resurrected them? No. If they were resurrected, how would Hutu be explained? Hutu wasn't dead and had already left. He shouldn't have appeared. Sun Wuxuan scratched his head. Little monkey, you have to look carefully. Is there heaven's equal? Elder Wuxuan, we didn't find anything related to heaven's equal. Sun Wuxing said respectfully. We can't retrieve that rock. Please forgive us, Demon Emperor. It's fine. You naturally can't retrieve something left behind by the ancient saints. Demon Emperor's eyes narrowed. Have someone guard the rock and see if there's anything special about it. The rest of you, continue exploring Mount Buzhou and find the treasure map as soon as possible. Yes. Sun Wuxing retreated. Sun Wuxuan's eyes flashed as he looked in the direction of Mount Buzhou. Demon Emperor shook his head. There was no point in being anxious. They couldn't go in. Buzhou Divine Mountain. Could he reach the peak of Buzhou Divine Mountain from the chaos and see what was inside? He didn't know if he could use the reincarnation disc to block the power of Mount Buzhou. Chapter 724. 3 days passed. Jiang Changkong left the heavenly realm and entered the chaos world. The immortal venerable Zhen Xian had been waiting for a long time. His expression was unprecedentedly heavy. Jiang Changkong asked, "Immortal venerable, did you see the contents of the instrument? See for yourself. Things are more terrifying than I thought." The immortal venerable Zhen Xian sighed and handed him a jade token. Jiang Changkong held the jade token, and a large amount of information entered his mind. Research after research, chasing chaos beasts and bringing them to the heavenly realm. During that period of time, the ancient heaven realm collapsed, and the heavenly Tao split into 9 parts. It was like the end of the world. The heavenly Tao collapsed on its own, and it was not the ancient immortals who became the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao broke on its own and released the restrictions of the ancient immortals. Jiang Changkong was shocked. Why did the heavenly Tao make this decision? This is also what I don't understand. The heavenly Tao broke on its own, causing the ancient heaven realm to collapse. The immortal, venerable Zhen Xian frowned. Many of the contents of the instrument have been deleted and cannot be recovered. Did Hutze come back to clean up these contents? Jiang Changkong guessed. The immortal, venerable Zhen Xian shook his head. He was not sure either. Jiang Changkong continued to study the information in his mind. Apart from this, there was also the research on chaos beasts. They even studied the heavenly Tao. However, the research content regarding the heavenly Tao had been deleted. If I want to chase after it, I still have to rely on the bone dragon to find the tributary of time in the chaos world. The immortal venerable Zhen Xian stood up and said, "I will go back to make treasures. Apart from chasing after the tributary of the river of time, there should be another way." The fiend ancestor, the primordial demon arch. The heavenly emperor had looked for them, so they must know something. Jiang Changkong put away his thoughts, looked in the direction of Mount Buzhou, and tore through the chaos world. He also had to figure out the strange situation of Mount Buzhou. The majestic divine might had already penetrated deep into the chaos world. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers away, Jiang Changkong felt a terrifying pressure. The reincarnation disc floated behind him, resisting the divine might. The closer he got, the stronger the divine might was. The reincarnation disc above his head felt a trace of pressure. Divine power poured into the reincarnation disc, activating the 6 paths of reincarnation. Jiang Changkong sped up, tearing through the chaos and advancing for thousands of kilometers. At this point, Jiang Changkong once again felt great pressure. Chaotic energy continuously surged into his body, strengthening the reincarnation wheel. Activating the chaotic golden body, Jiang Changkong's aura rose again, and the reincarnation disc pressure increased. After advancing another 30,000 kilometers, Jiang Changkong stopped. His body was already hunched. The divine might was too terrifying, and it was already difficult for him to advance. This aura. He sensed a familiar yet strange aura. When he unsealed the seal in the relic, he released the aura of the chaos beast. Who exactly is it? The aura of this place hasn't dissipated yet. Did they go deeper or did they leave? Jiang Changkong forced himself to raise his head and look at where Mount Buzhou was. Boundless primal chaos obscured everything. The primal chaos aura in front of them was chaotic. Streams of primal chaos turbulence almost sealed off the path ahead. After pondering for a moment, Jiang Changkong turned around and left. He was not afraid of the chaotic currents, but the godly aura here was too terrifying. If the other party advanced, The other party's strength was not something he could deal with. After leaving the primal chaos and returning to the heavenly realm, he would wait for venerable Zhen Xian to finish making the treasure and chase after the tributary of the River of Time. As for Mount Buzhou in the heavenly realm, there shouldn't be any big problems with his secondary body here. Alliance Master, an immortal lord, found a huge chaos divine stone in the relic. An immortal emperor came in and took out a chaos divine stone that was half the height of a person. There's a special aura. Great reward. Jiang Changkong accepted the chaos divine stone, took out 2 large pieces of chaos beast meat, refined them, and handed them to the immortal emperor. You and him each take a piece. Thank you, Alliance Master. The immortal emperor was overjoyed and left with the meat. Jiang Changkong brought the Chaos Divine Stone to the Chaos Divine Fire Relic. The Chaos Divine Fire burned, and the huge Chaos Divine Stone quickly melted. Immortal runes appeared one after another. It was still that special aura, and the information of a relic was clearly displayed. Huh, it's actually the relic of an immortal lord? Jiang Changkong was a little surprised. This was the first time he had seen the relic of an immortal lord. The previous relic he had seen were all immortal emperor relic. Could it be because the Chaos Divine Stone was slightly bigger? This piece of Chaos Divine Stone was enough for a demon emperor to come over. Since he was leaving, he should increase the strength of the demon emperor. Soon, the demon emperor arrived to increase his divine body and strength. This way, the demon emperor's strength would truly be invincible among immortal emperors. After informing the immortal emperors of the itinerant cultivator alliance, Jiang Changkong stepped into the chaos to search for the relic. In the gray chaos, Jiang Changkong traveled quickly. This time, the teleportation array was further away, and the relic was also further away. Jiang Changkong flew for 5 hours before he found the Chaos Divine Stone House. Standing on the teleportation array, Jiang Changkong circulated his god power. Space warped, and Jiang Changkong reappeared on top of a mountain of Chaos Divine Stones. A huge entrance appeared in front of him. It was pitch black inside, and he couldn't see anything. He descended from the sky, and an earthy yellow light shrouded him. Profound immortal array runes sealed the void. His god power was like a blade, easily cutting the immortal array runes, and he descended to the bottom of the pit. This aura. There were remnants of the law of Earth's aura in the primal chaos currents. A special power was calling out to him. Jiang Changkong was curious. What could be calling out to him in the primal chaos? There was only a wide path in front of him. He quickly flew forward, and the primal chaos currents automatically dispersed. Roar! A violent roar suddenly sounded. An earthy yellow light shrouded the surrounding walls under his feet, and the immortal array runes gathered. A primal chaos ferocious beast suffused with the law of Earth's aura slashed over. Buzz! Divine might spread out, and the primal chaos ferocious beast stopped behind him. The surrounding immortal array runes shattered inch by inch. Peak Immortal Emperor. Jiang Changkong suppressed the primal chaos ferocious beast and sealed it in the reincarnation wheel. The reincarnation wheel contained the 6 paths of space, and it could store living creatures, provided that their strength did not surpass his. After keeping the primal chaos ferocious beast, Jiang Changkong walked forward quickly. If this was a primal chaos ferocious beast lair, he would have made a killing. According to the ferocious beast lair in the Blood River, the endless primal chaos ferocious beast should be able to obtain the remaining 4 million essence, spirit, and soul energy to enter the perfected Tao body. The immortal array runes were very strong, and they could suppress ordinary late-stage immortal emperors. Everywhere Jiang Changkong passed, the immortal array runes kept shattering. That feeling of calling grew stronger and stronger. A terrifying power came from the depths of the path. The earthy yellow light carried the powerful power of laws like a divine mountain. He clenched his right fist and infused divine power. With a boom, the law of earth dissipated, and the earthy yellow light disappeared. Jiang Changkong's figure disappeared, and when he appeared again, he was already in the depths. A peak immortal emperor primal chaos, ferocious beast, was staring at him fiercely. Its body was covered in earthy yellow fur, and it emitted the aura of earth. Behind it, there was a palm-sized, grayish-yellow object. It looked like gold, but it was not gold, and it looked like jade, but it was not jade. It had a gray primal chaos aura, and it was resonating with him. Why is this thing resonating with me? Jiang Changkong was puzzled. The primal chaos, ferocious beast was already charging over, and the smell of earth rushed into his nose. With a flick of his finger, a chaotic divine power flew out, and the primal chaos, ferocious beast was sent flying, crashing into the wall of the chaos divine stone. The primal chaos, ferocious beast bounced back, and Jiang Changkong suppressed it with his divine power, keeping it in the reincarnation wheel. Holding the grayish-yellow object, Jiang Changkong frowned. A suction force came over, and before he could react, he was swallowed. A heavenly realm aura made his heart sink. I was tricked. Chapter 725. The thick aura of the law of earth intertwined with the primal chaos. Rumble. A grayish-yellow divine pillar descended. Jiang Changkong's expression turned cold as he hurriedly dodged. Divine pillars that were hundreds of feet thick came one after another. They even contained the aura of the heavenly realm. The divine pillars sealed the space around him without any gaps. Even if he turned into light, he wouldn't be able to escape. Between the divine pillars, immortal array runes connected all the divine pillars together. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. He raised his left palm and faced a divine pillar. Rumble. The terrifying pressure caused the ground to crack. Jiang Changkong's feet to sink into the ground. Immortal array patterns appeared on the grayish-yellow ground as well, binding him tightly. Primal chaos, golden body. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. His body enlarged as he forcefully lifted the divine pillar. His 10,000-foot divine body had muscles like divine dragons and mountain ranges. His hair was like dragons and sharp divine weapons. Jiang Changkong's 3 eyes twitched at the same time. The connate divine pattern shone and shook the divine pillar's might. Rumble. The divine pillar that he had just lifted suddenly sank, and the pressure doubled. Another divine pillar stacked on top of it. His arms trembled, and he looked like a giant that could prop up the heavens. Green light and God power converged at this moment. Boom! Another divine pillar stacked on top of it. Jiang Changkong's feet sank a little. The immortal array on the ground was extremely sturdy. Even Jiang Changkong couldn't break it in a short time. The divine pillars continued to stack on top of his head. Jiang Changkong's left arm gradually bent. This power had completely surpassed the immortal emperor realm. This was an immortal, venerable level array. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. He didn't know where the array's limit was. If there was no limit, he might really die here. His left arm bent a little more. Jiang Changkong's head drooped down. His gaze was cold. Which force in the heavenly realm schemed against me? The heavenly realm's immortal aura was very dense. It was completely different from the primal chaos aura. Boom! The divine pillar above his head sank. An immeasurable immortal light shone. A figure stood on the divine pillar. Alliance Lord Jiang, how does it feel? So, it's an ant from the immortal slaying sect. And here I was wondering who would have the guts to do something like this. Jiang Changkong's expression turned cold, and his killing intent exploded out. Above the divine pillar, the peak-level immortal emperor's god force strengthened the pillar and coldly said, "Ants?" Alliance Chief Jiang Shure is confident. Jiang Changkong's expression was ice-cold. Boundless primordial chaos energy rose behind him as he forcefully lifted the divine pillar. His left arm slowly straightened. A peak stage immortal emperor wants to kill this emperor? Don't you find it ridiculous? The divine power was activated again, and the divine power pillar shook. Then let's have another one. The peak-level immortal emperor left the divine pillar, but another pillar appeared. His eyes gleamed with coldness. If it wasn't for this place, this emperor really wouldn't be able to withstand a single strike from you. Sadly, how much strength do you have now? With a flash of white light, the semi-finished, immortal-slaying flying saber rose again. The peak-level immortal emperor of the immortal-slaying sect no longer had the patience to waste words with him. How much strength do I have? I can still kill you. Jiang Changkong snorted coldly. Facing the white light, he gathered divine power in his right palm, turning it into a giant hand that covered the sky and grabbed towards the peak-level immortal emperor. Boom! The white light was directly destroyed. The giant hand shattered the celestial light and slapped towards the peak-level immortal emperor. The peak-level immortal emperor's expression changed, and he used his top-grade 7th-grade celestial blade to protect his head. Rumble! Kacha! The giant hand landed, and the top-grade celestial blade shattered inch by inch. Violent divine power smashed onto the peak-level immortal emperor's body. The blood of the immortal emperor splattered, evaporating in the air. Terrifying divine power spread out, and shockwaves swept out for thousands of miles. The celestial formation on the ground shone brightly, and no matter how terrifying the shockwaves were, it wasn't damaged at all. How amazing! Even with the celestial reverent formation and the chaotic earth essence, your strength isn't reduced at all. The peak-level immortal emperor's body cracked, and his celestial emperor blood dripped down continuously. Even with the suppression of the formation and the boundless divine pillars, he still couldn't cross the heavenly moat and kill Jiang Changkong. The strength of the person in front of him couldn't be measured by an immortal emperor. Only an immortal reverent could. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent, but his heart was extremely heavy. The setup here clearly wasn't something that a peak-level immortal emperor could do. The chaotic beasts outside, and the formation here, even a peak-level immortal emperor couldn't do it with his life. There were definitely stronger experts hiding in the dark. Jiang Changkong pushed the power in his body to the limit, and he wanted to break free from the immortal formation. But the power of the immortal formation was too terrifying, and it wasn't something he could break in a short time, unless he used the reincarnation disc. However, the moment he used the reincarnation disc and broke the immortal formation, that immortal reverent definitely wouldn't let go of this opportunity. The peak-level immortal emperor swallowed a pill, and his cracked body quickly recovered. You still can't recognize reality, Jiang Changkong said mockingly. The gap between you and me isn't something that the immortal reverent formation can make up for. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and he pushed his exalted immortal might to the limit. A golden immortal sword with a special aura appeared. Grade 8 immortal artifact. Jiang Changkong laughed coldly. The immortal slaying sect is really rich to give me another grade 8 immortal artifact. Being stubborn won't let you live. The peak-level immortal emperor snorted coldly, and he activated the grade 8 immortal sword. A special aura bloomed, and a Tao intent of supremacy spread out. The immortal slaying light shone again, and the grade 8 immortal sword arrived in an instant. Jiang Changkong, who was suppressed by the divine pillar and sealed by the immortal formation, couldn't move. He was a live target. Jiang Changkong narrowed his eyes, and his left arm shook slightly. The divine pillar trembled slightly, and the power in his body was transferred to his right hand, gathering into a fist. Boom! The great divine light was like a waterfall, and also like a chaotic galaxy, falling from the 9 heavens. Rumble! The grade 8 immortal sword pierced through the chaotic galaxy, and cut the skin of his right hand, causing gray immortal emperor blood to flow. The chaotic galaxy also landed on the peak-level immortal emperor. Bang! The peak-level immortal emperor's body exploded, turning into countless pieces of flesh. A terrifying aura spread out, and the might of an immortal reverent dissipated, forcefully taking away a ray of divine light. The grade 8 immortal sword was also sent flying. Immortal slaying sect, a peak-level immortal emperor, is only SOSO. Jiang Changkong sneered, but his body sank again. Just now, he had forcefully shaken off the divine pillar, and now the pressure increased again, causing his body to hunch a little. Buzz! A vast beam of immortal light rose, illuminating the space, dispersing the gray chaos. A supreme divine might and an aura of supremacy pressed down on him. Jiang Chankong's chaotic laws dimmed a little, and his legs had already sunk deep into the ground. His eyes stared at the light. Immortal slaying sect master. Immortal reverent. There was another meaning to it. The immortal Tao was supreme. He had already walked to the end of the immortal Tao, and the next step was the primordial chaos saint realm. He had already comprehended the essence of the immortal Tao laws. All laws, all immortal power, had to lower their heads in front of an immortal reverent. Jiang Chankong's eyes were cold, and the reincarnation disc was already hanging behind him. This is really surprising. Under such circumstances, you still have the battle power to suppress a peak immortal emperor. Immortal slaying sect master was a peak early stage immortal reverent expert, infinitely close to a mid-stage immortal reverent. He was one of the top almighties in the heaven realm. There will be more that will surprise you. Jiang Chankong sneered, showing no fear. Even if you have an immortal array and thousands of divine pillars on your back, this emperor can still kill you. Arrogant. An immortal emperor can't shake an immortal reverent no matter what. The immortal slaying sect master's expression was cold. Today, this sovereign will let you see what true immortal slaying is. Then come a try. Jiang Chankong held the reincarnation disc in his right hand. He knew that he most likely only had the strength to attack once. If this attack didn't kill the immortal slaying sect master, he would be the one to die. Chapter 726. The peak of the immortal Tao, the sect master of the immortal slaying sect, an immortal sovereign. Jiang Chankong carried the divine pillar on his back and was trapped in the immortal formation. He was in a miserable state. Immortal slaying, God exterminating. The 8th grade immortal sword was activated to the extreme. The might of an immortal sovereign, an 8th grade immortal artifact. Endless profound mysteries of the immortal Tao, the pinnacle of the immortal Tao laws, wails of anguish rang out. In the void, there seemed to be countless immortals beheaded. Billions of immortals died. There seemed to be only a beam of white light left in the world. It was the light of immortal slaying. Immortals wept and gods wailed. Thousands of immortals bowed their heads, and 3,000 laws lowered their heads. Although it wasn't the true immortal slaying, it allowed an immortal sovereign to refine a new great divine ability. This divine ability could destroy everything. It was second only to the top divine abilities of ancient immortals. Jiang Chankong felt as though his god power and laws had been locked down. His entire body had stiffened up. The reincarnation plate trembled slightly. The might of the divine artifact dispelled the seal. 6 paths of reincarnation. Jiang Chankong gripped the reincarnation plate and poured divine power into it. 6 vortexes appeared and began to merge into one. Sky splitting. The everlasting and imperishable figure revived. Holy might boundless and boundless. Everlasting and everlasting, suppressing everything. An illusory reincarnation plate appeared in the hand of the Lady of Earth's shadow. It fused with the 6 paths of reincarnation and used the art of sky splitting. 6 paths of reincarnation as one. Divine artifact sky splitting. The mysterious power of sky splitting did not belong to the heavenly realm. It was even an aura above the chaos. In an instant, the divine pillar shattered and vanished. The earth cracked and the immortal formation shattered. The white light dissipated. The aura of the immortal Tao's supremacy became extremely small. Everything seemed fragile before the move of sky splitting. The sect master of the immortal slaying sect looked at the power in horror. Supremacy of the immortal Tao, top divine abilities? They were all laughable now. This was not a power that immortals could touch. Even sages could not fathom. Without a sound, the white light dissipated. The 8th grade immortal artifact turned to dust. The Grand Master of the immortal slaying sect could only watch as his god body dissipated rapidly, disappearing into thin air. The space was torn, and chaotic energy surged in, drowning the space and devouring them. Endless chaotic energy drilled into his body and restored his divine power. In front of him, there was nothing left of the primordial chaos. Even Sectlord Immortal Slang's spatial gear dissipated. This was something Jiang Changkong could not control. The power of opening the heavens was too strong, and he did not have the time to take care of spatial equipment. At that time, he could only use his full strength to attack, and he didn't have time to think. Now, it seemed that combining the 6 paths of reincarnation as one and using the heaven-splitting art was unexpectedly powerful. Collapsing in the primal chaos, Jiang Changkong was completely exhausted. He allowed the primal chaos, Qi, to drown him. Rumble. Suddenly, the primal chaos split apart, and a giant golden hand tore through the primal chaos. Jiang Changkong's eyes widened. This was that familiar aura, the celestial venerable who released the sealed primal beasts. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Jiang Changkong was powerless to stop it. He could only place the reincarnation disc in front of him at the critical moment. Boom! The giant golden hand descended, and the wheel of reincarnation suddenly erupted with a monstrous, murderous aura, engulfing Jiang Changkong. A blurry figure appeared, shrouded in celestial light, and his face could not be seen clearly. The ancestral witch's murderous aura, a technique left behind by Hoodoo. The blurry figure murmured, but in the next moment, he retreated explosively. A golden divine dragon flew out of the murderous aura, crashing into the blurry figure. The celestial venerable's blood splattered, and his celestial body was torn apart. The divine dragon's attack dissipated, merging into the primal chaos. Damn it! Hutu actually left a technique in the murderous aura. The cracked celestial venerable's body healed, and the blurry celestial venerable staggered. If I hadn't merged into the primal chaos in time and had a protective treasure on me, that attack just now might have taken my life. The murderous aura passed through the primal chaos. After an unknown distance, it brought Jiang Changkong into a temple, and the reincarnation disc entered his body. Heaven Realm, Demon King Palace. The Demon King frowned. He could feel that his main body was still alive, but it was very strange. He could not sense where he was or how far he was. He only knew that his main body was unconscious. Demon King, you're frowning. Is something on your mind? Asked Sun Wuxuan. No, I'm just thinking about the treasure map. We cannot delay dealing with the celestial spirit, said the Demon King indifferently. His main body would not die, so he did not need to worry. There is still no news of the treasure map, but the celestial formation on it has already caused many deaths. Sun Wuxuan's expression was solemn. There are some abnormalities regarding the Demon Commander Stone. What abnormalities? Asked the Demon King. Inheritance. The complete inheritance of the demon race. Some of the demon race obtained some primordial era inheritance from the Demon Commander Stone. I heard that the one who obtained a drop of demon blood was not from the 10 demon commanders, but the essence blood of their ancestor, said Sun Wuxuan. The Demon King said, this is a good thing. Also, did you discover anything else? Nothing for now. We have just ascended Buzhou Mountain. Sun Wuxuan played with his monkey fur. I did not understand why the primordial immortal gods did not allow immortal emperors to enter. If immortal emperors entered with the Demon King and my strength, we would have long reached the peak. The Demon King chuckled. It is not that easy. Even if there were no restrictions, it would be difficult for immortal emperors to reach the peak. As he spoke, the jade token flashed, and Feng Zhou's voice came out. Demon King, the Demon Master found a connate spirit stone mine and a map. A map? Could it be that treasure map? Asked the Demon King. I'm not sure. Kuan, you hit it very well. I only found out after asking the other immortal emperors. Location, said the Demon King. About 10 miles to the left of the Demon Commander Stone. Thank you. If there are any gains, I will reward you. Thank you, Demon King. After hanging up, the Demon King looked at Sun Wuxuan and transmitted the news to him. Sun Wuxuan chuckled and hurriedly ran out to contact the others. The Demon King also transmitted the news to the main body. The Itinerant Cultivator Alliance all had chaos divine power in their bodies. Although the main body was unconscious, he could still use it. He transmitted the news to an immortal emperor who hurriedly contacted him. There was no telling if there was anything special about the ancestral sorcerer tree. Just as the Demon King was thinking that he might be able to take the Spirit Stone mine, the Jade token flashed again. Two ultimate God Kings, Heavenly King Ziwei and pagoda-bearing Heavenly King. Heavenly King Ziwei said, "Kuan, you found a mine and a map. We can work together to help me kill an immortal king. The Celestial Court is planning to deal with you. They're working with Kuan Yu to send out Heavenly King Ziwei. Prepare yourself and don't return, pagoda-bearing Heavenly King." Was there something wrong with Kuan Yu's head? Since he could not deal with Jiang Changkong's main body, he had shifted his target to him. After helping Jiang Changkong last time, did he think that he should teach the Demon King a lesson? If that was the case, he would not hold back. He would have Sun Li and the others work with the Penglai sect and the Suppressing Yuan Immortal sect to take advantage of the situation. Now that he had been captured as the Demon King, he should not think about taking them away so easily. He should prepare the ransom. When his main body returned, he would replenish the remaining 4 million essences and complete his Taoist form. He transmitted his voice to Sun Wuxuan to have him prepare again. With a thought, the Demon King's main body awoke. Chapter 727. Inside a temple, gray chaotic aura interweaved. Jiang Changkong was lying on a table and chairs made of chaos stones. He had recovered some of his divine power. He shook his head. Fortunately, the reincarnation disc had taken him away in time, so he was not seriously injured. He sat cross-legged and absorbed the chaotic aura to recover his divine power. Endless chaotic aura surged into his body like rivers flowing into the sea. Chaos rivers surged into Jiang Changkong's mind and began to recover his divine power. It took half a day for Jiang Changkong's divine power to recover. He looked at the reincarnation disc. The chaos beast he had suppressed was already dead. He had done it for nothing. He had even wasted a wisp of life-saving baneful aura. Immortal slaying sect. Jiang Changkong's gaze was dark as he continued to size up the reincarnation disc. Although he had suffered a loss this time, it was not without gains. After that, the immortal supremacy had intercepted an aura from the reincarnation disc. When he returned to the heavenly realm, he should be able to ask the immortal supremacy Zhen Xian. Standing up, Jiang Changkong sized up the palace. There was nothing except tables and chairs. Dong dong. There was a sound as if something was beating. Jiang Changkong was slightly shocked. A short figure twisted and walked over. He wore a red doo-doo, and his skin was as translucent as jade. His hair was tied in a pigtail, and he looked like a porcelain doll. He tried his best to raise his head and size him up. "May I ask where this place is?" Jiang Changkong squatted down and asked. He could sense the chaotic aura and an ancient aura from the child. The strength of an early-stage immortal emperor shocked him. Could it be that this child was left behind by Hutu? The child looked at him strangely. "This is my home. Why are you here?" "Your home?" Jiang Changkong was stunned for a moment before he said, "A sage called Hutu brought me here." "Hutu?" The child frowned. It was somewhat familiar, but he could not recall. This name made him feel a sense of closeness. Looking at Jiang Changkong, the child twisted his body and said, "Come with me." "Where?" Jiang Changkong was puzzled. "Let's eat. It's time for dinner." The child wobbled as if he couldn't even walk steadily. Jiang Changkong was a little confused. Where was this place? Was it built by Hutu? A child who couldn't even walk steadily was actually an immortal emperor? Walking out of the temple, Huang Xiaolong saw that it was still a blurry, primal chaos outside. The floor was also paved with primal chaos divine stones. Following the child, they stepped on the stone slabs, traversed the chaotic aura, and arrived before a green willow tree. The child brought him directly into the dark green willow tree. Inside was another space filled with innate spiritual chi. Hollow willow. Jiang Changkong's heart skipped a beat. There was actually a hollow willow growing here? In the Khanate Spirit Chi space, 10 children were playing happily and running in the space. Among these children, the weakest was an immortal king, while the strongest was an intermediate immortal emperor. Stop, all of you. There's a guest. The red undergarment child's childish voice shouted loudly. Oh, a guest. The 10 children hurriedly surrounded Jiang Changkong and sized him up. Where are you from? Jiang Changkong, from the heaven realm. Jiang Changkong said, May I know how to address you? And where's this place? A person called Hudu asked him to come. The red undergarment child said, Do you know him? I feel that Hudu is very familiar. No, we also feel that he is very familiar. The 10 children shook their heads in unison. Forget it. Let's eat first. The child with the red doo was obviously thick-skinned and had forgotten about this matter. Little Jiang, let's eat. The 10 children looked at a silver-haired child. The silver-haired child stretched his hand into the void. His white and tender arm grabbed a stream of innate spirit liquid and gave it to everyone. I don't need it. Jiang Changkong smiled and said, I'm not hungry. This innate spirit liquid actually had no essence, chi, or spirit. This made him feel a little strange. Seeing that Chun Fan didn't want it, the children didn't hesitate and continued to eat. After eating, they began to play again. Dense immortal light was emitted from their bodies. A misty immortal light interweaved and formed a divine mountain. Mount Buzhou, a glowing map with the sun, moon, stars, mountains, and rivers appeared on the divine mountain. This wouldn't be that treasure map, right? Did Hutu hide the location of the treasure map on the 11 children? Jerome, you're so stupid. Don't you know how to hide? A young voice came. Jerome? Jiang Changkong was slightly stunned. The red undergarment child was Jerome. The silver-haired one who grabbed the innate spirit liquid from the void couldn't be Jiang, right? While he was still in a daze, the reincarnation disc released a beam of energy that broke the void and took him away. I haven't even seen them clearly. Jiang Changkong knocked on the reincarnation disc. He saw 11 children and 11 ancestral witches. Only Hutu wasn't there. Was it because Hutu had left? The reincarnation disc vibrated and sent out a message. Jiang Changkong fell silent. So that place was fake. The 11 ancestral witches were all illusions. They were the regret in Hutu's heart. The hollow willow was also fake. Only the temple was real. Back then, Hutu lived in the temple and was immersed in the illusion he had created. Without the strength of a sage, he couldn't see through the illusion. There was a message hidden in the illusion. The treasure map was real. Once he obtained the treasure map, the immortal spirit would have nowhere to hide. As for whether he could obtain it, it would depend on whether the divine kings under him were capable. Hutu's regret, however, were the 12 ancestral witch trees on Mount Buzhou. Jiang Changkong pondered in his heart. What secrets did that tree hide? The reincarnation disc stopped. It had already left that place and entered the chaos. Jiang Changkong could sense that his secondary body wasn't far from the heavenly realm. The reincarnation disc returned to his body and fell silent. Let's go back first and get the Demon Emperor to retrieve the treasure map. Jiang Changkong relayed the message to the Demon Emperor. Only the Demon Emperor could have the treasure map, which he could not do at the moment, unless he could stand at the pinnacle of the heavenly realm and become a peak immortal lord, or even the very limits. The Demon Emperor received the message that he would look for the treasure map after tricking Kuan Yu this time. On the other hand, Kuan Yu kept fighting despite the setbacks, and his perseverance was truly admirable. Inside Mount Buzhou, Sun Li met up with Sun Wuxing, Jing Yuan, and the Penglai sect, intending to strike first to gain the upper hand. As for the Immortal Slayer sect, sorry, they were no longer playing with Kuan Yu. The Immortal Slayer sect had almost been tricked last time. Only the Immortal Slayer sect had gotten into trouble while the other factions were fine. Anyone would be disgusted by it. There was no suspense in this matter, not to mention that Heavenly King Ziwei and pagoda-bearing Heavenly King were no different from traitors who did not put in the effort. Jiang Changkong was not in a hurry to return and went straight to the immortal sect of Zhen Yuan to find the immortal Lord Jin Xian. Brother Jiang, is there something urgent that you have come to find me personally? the immortal Lord Jin Xian asked. Jiang Changkong sighed softly. I fell into a trap during my trip to the heavenly chaos. After telling him everything, the immortal Lord Jin Xian laid down a barrier, grabbed his beard, and said solemnly, "Release that aura." When Jiang Changkong released the immortal Lord's aura, the immortal Lord Jin Xian's expression changed. The Heavenly Court. Chapter 728. Heavenly Court's immortal Lord Guang, F.A. Celestial Venerable Jin Xian dispersed his aura and his expression darkened. Celestial Venerable Guang, F.A. is very strong. He is also an expert among the intermediate celestial venerables. Jiang Changkong frowned slightly. The Heavenly Court really doesn't want to let me off. Fellow Jiang, bear with it for the time being. Venerable Jin Xian sighed softly. The Heavenly Court was very strong. It was the true pinnacle of the immortal world. Although the Jin Yuan celestial sect was strong, it was no match for them in a real fight. Jiang Changkong nodded. I will endure it. I wonder how Venerable Jin Xian's treasure creation is going. I still need some time, about half a month. Jiang Changkong didn't return to his territory. Instead, he entered the primordial chaos. After pondering for a moment, Jiang Changkong entered the ruins. This was the remnant of the immortal slaying sect. Most of the things inside had already been plundered. Those that had ferocious beasts of the primordial chaos were all annihilated. In that case, let's pay a visit to the immortal slaying sect. Jiang Changkong used a sage artifact to conceal himself. This way, even a peak immortal reverent would find it hard to discover him unless the distance was extremely close. Now that he had killed the sect master of the immortal slaying sect, it was likely that the immortal slaying sect was in a state of chaos. After arriving in the vicinity of the immortal slaying sect, Jiang Changkong blended into a stalk of wild grass. From time to time, disciples of the immortal slaying sect would rush over from the ruins or head to the ruins. He infused his chaos divine energy into the bodies of these disciples. These disciples, who were at most at the intermediate stage of the Celestial King stage, should not be able to see the Celestial Venerables, so they would not be able to discover his divine power. He wanted to understand the current situation of the immortal slaying sect before making his move. He would make another trip to the Heavenly Court after this. How could Jiang Changkong endure being framed and having his baleful aura smacked away with a single slap? Anyway, there were still 2 more times. At most, he would use them all. When the time came, he would bring the things prepared by Venerable Zhen Xuan, the Celestial, and ride the bone dragon to the chaos space. As for the Heaven Realm, he would leave everything to the sub-body Demon Emperor. When he returned, he would settle the score with them. After thinking of a way out, Jiang Changkong continued to wait. 2 days passed. On the other side, Xian Mia had arrived with 113 captives. The Demon Emperor personally took action to suppress them and sent people to inform the powers behind them. Demon Emperor, Demon Master requests an audience. Sun Yuan walked in and said respectfully, "Let him in." The Demon Emperor's tone was calm, but his heart was cold. This time, don't even think about taking him away for free. He looked down at a map of the natural spirit stone vein, which Jin Yuan and Peng Lai had made copies of. It was not a treasure map. There were only a few points marked on it. As for what exactly was hidden there, Zhang Xian had no idea. He had already sent people to look for it, and he believed that there would be an answer soon. Kuan Yu walked in with an ugly expression. He cupped his hands and said, "Demon Master Kuan Yu greets Demon Sovereign. Dispense with the formalities." The Demon Emperor didn't even raise his head as he said indifferently, "I wonder what is the purpose of the Demon Master's visit to the Demon Emperor Palace." Kuan Yu's face twitched. He braced himself and said, "Demon Sovereign, my subordinates are insensible and cause some conflict. I will definitely teach them a good lesson. The Demon Master won't do anything about it. I'll leave it to Immortal Emperor Wu Xian." Demon Emperor said indifferently, "Immortal Emperor Wu Xian, cripple their cultivation or dig out their demon cores and reward them to the other demon races." "Yes, Demon Emperor." Sun Wuxuan looked coldly at Kuan Yu. "Demon Emperor, we are both demons. Why are you so vicious?" Kuan Yu's expression changed. He said coldly, "It's not a big deal that my subordinates caused some conflict. Not a big deal." Demon Emperor raised his head and looked at Kuan Yu coldly. The Demon Master allied with the Heavenly Court to target the demon race. Are you betraying the demon race and planning to defect to the enemy? Nonsense, Kuan Yu said angrily. This time, you're the ones who attacked first. You stole the Spirit Stone Mine and the treasure map. If the Demon Master didn't defect to the enemy, why were they together with the immortal king of the Heavenly Court? Demon Emperor questioned. The Demon Master raised his head and said, "The Celestial Court's banquet was an alliance to get the treasure. They were doing it for the heavenly realm. This time, the ones who attacked first were the demons under the Demon Emperor, not his subordinates." He was also confused. Why did the Demon Emperor get the news first every time? Last time, he knew ahead of time and was surrounded. He suffered a huge loss. This time, he had just formed an alliance, but before he could attack, he was defeated. There was definitely a traitor, but he didn't know who the traitor was. Could it be Feng Jiao? He heard that Feng Jiao and the Demon Emperor were getting closer these days. Feng Jiao's strength was also increasing. Why the heavenly realm? The Demon Emperor raised his eyelids and said indifferently, "The people from the heavenly court have already confessed." Demon Master, stop quibbling. "A confession under torture is not trustworthy," said the Demon Master coldly. "Then let the Demon Emperor come and see who is in the right," said the Demon Emperor coldly. "Either hand over the resources or scram." Dongwang Changyue, Kuan Yu shouted angrily, but just as he spoke, a hairy hand slapped him to the ground. Sun Wuxuan looked at him coldly. "You can call the Demon Emperor by his honorific name." Demon Master Kuan Yu betrayed the demon race. The Demon Emperor looked down at Kuan Yu and said coldly, "Do you think I have no subordinates in the Heavenly Court?" Kuan Yu's heart shook. Heavenly Court? The problem was with the Heavenly Court? Throw him out. The Demon Emperor waved his hand. Kuan Yu was thrown out by Sun Wuxuan himself. He was afraid that Kuan Yu couldn't run fast enough, so he kicked him. Sun Wuxuan returned and grinned. Demon Emperor, the Heavenly Court's Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor requests an audience. The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor walked over. He had already forgotten the unhappiness from before. He cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, Demon Emperor. Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor. Are you here to redeem the Immortal King?" asked the Demon Emperor. The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor frowned and said coldly, "The Demon Emperor captured the Heavenly Court's Immortal King for no reason. Shouldn't you give us an explanation?" "Earth Spirit, don't be so ridiculous." The Demon Emperor snorted. The Heavenly Court's people all confessed. It was Kuan Yu's alliance. Kuan Yu came just now and threw them out. Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor also wants this treatment. The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor's expression turned ugly. This Kuan Yu is too useless. I definitely can't cooperate with him next time. The Immortal Slaying Sect was lucky this time. The Demon Emperor is quite capable to be the Demon Emperor. The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor said in a low voice, "Demon Emperor, what price do you want?" It was clearly impossible to take the Immortal King away. The Demon Emperor said calmly, "I am short on money. The monsters under me have not been rewarded for 100 years. The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor, you haven't even been the Demon Emperor for a year. How did you become the Demon Emperor for 100 years? Did you become the Demon Emperor in your past life? Demon Emperor, please state your price." The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor looked down and didn't want to listen to his nonsense. 50,000 peak 7th grade immortal stones. "How about it?" asked the Demon Emperor. Demon Emperor, you really know how to joke. The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor almost exploded. There are many spirit stone mines in Mount Buzhou. I believe the Heavenly Court is very rich recently. The Demon Emperor kept the treasure map on the table and said coldly, "The Heavenly Court cannot accept this price." The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor said coldly, "Zhang Changkong only asked for 10,000 low-grade, 7th-grade immortal stones from the Immortal Slaying Sect. There are more immortal kings in the Heavenly Court. They are of higher status." The Demon Emperor said slowly, "How about this? I will take 30,000 low-grade, 7th-grade immortal stones with me. The Earth Spirit, Celestial Emperor, fell silent. Suddenly, a voice came from outside. Chapter 729. The Earth Spirit Celestial Emperor was shocked when a monster emperor arrived. Then, he looked like he was watching a show. The monster emperor refused to let the monsters go. Kuan Yu, the monster master, could only go to the monster emperor. The monster emperor walked into the Monster King palace. The monster emperor stood up to welcome him. After all, the monster emperor was his boss in name. Big brother, why are you here today? The monster emperor pretended to be confused. Kuan Yu opened his mouth, but was stopped by the monster emperor. I heard that second brother captured the heavenly court's immortal king and made a great contribution, so I came to see. I see. Big brother, please have a seat. The monster emperor bowed. Earth Spirit Celestial Emperor, go back and prepare. Monster Emperor. The Earth Spirit Celestial Emperor looked at the monster emperor. Now that the monster emperor was here, the monster court lord was in charge. The demon emperor smiled faintly. Second brother is the demon emperor and is my brother. His thought to my thoughts. The Earth Spirit Celestial Emperor was not surprised. He turned and left. I will go back and gather the immortal stones. The monster emperor smiled. Thank you, big brother. If you did not come, the Earth Spirit Celestial Emperor would not be so straightforward. The monster emperor nodded and did not speak. Kuan Yu raised his head again. Monster Emperor, the monster emperor does not want the heavenly court to laugh at us and think that the monster court is not on good terms. Now that the monster emperor is here, let the monsters out. Monster Master is too impatient. Sun Wuxuan sneered. You are the one who caused this disaster. The monster court is not on good terms because of you. Monster Emperor, this monkey is really lawless. Kuan Yu immediately hugged the monster emperor. He could not afford to offend Sun Wuxuan. All right. The demon emperor raised his hand and said indifferently, second brother naturally has his own considerations when doing things. Thank you for your understanding, big brother. The monster emperor cupped his hands. Kuan Yu's face darkened. Monster Emperor, didn't you come to support me and help me get the immortal king out? Why do you always help the monster emperor in front of the monster emperor? Kuan Yu, who was very unhappy, felt a bit resentful towards the monster emperor. He had worked hard for the monster emperor for so many years, but he could not compare to a monster emperor who had just come out. All of you are dismissed. This sovereign has something to discuss with the demon sovereign. The demon sovereign waved his hand. Yes. Sun Wuxuan bowed and left. Demon Arch. Kuan, you didn't want to leave. He was worried that this demon sovereign would say bad things about him. Go down, the demon Arch said coldly. Kuan Yu felt even more wronged, but he could only leave. There were only 2 people left in a shrine. The demonic beast emperor set up a divine barrier. The demon emperor sent out a stream of god power. Second brother, tell Feng Jiao to be more discreet next time. Don't let me catch her again. I don't want to keep hiding from the demon master. The demon sovereign smiled faintly and said, the demon Thearcha's eyes are indeed like a torch. You can see through everything. Nothing can be hidden from you. He was not surprised by this. The demon emperor had controlled the demon court for many years and had failed time and time again against Kuan Yu. How could he not guess? Even if he couldn't guess it, he would be able to find out. Out of all the immortal emperors, only Feng Jiao was closest to him. Look at those demon immortal kings. If it's possible, just release them. How much resources do you need? This elder brother will give you some. The demon emperor spoke. I need a lot of resources. Also, we can't let the immortal king go easily. The demon emperor said calmly. What? The demon Arch frowned slightly. He had already pointed out that Feng Jiao was willing to give him some resources. He didn't even pursue the matter. Why was this demon emperor still unwilling to let the immortal kings go? The demon emperor came to the demon Thearcha's side and said softly, I have found the information on the treasure map. It was almost destroyed this time. Big brother, how do you want to let it go easily? This was not nonsense. He wanted Sun Wuxing to search. If Kuan Yu continued to target them, he would definitely find something. At that time, the news would be exposed. The demon Arch would probably feel uncomfortable hiding such an important matter from him. Information on the treasure map? Is it that map from before? The demon Arch raised his eyebrows. The demon emperor took out the map. No, my subordinates found it. It's precisely because of this that I've decided to strike first to gain the upper hand. After saying that, he used his divine power to condense the map and display the information on the treasure map. The demon Arch looked at the map with a burning gaze. If he got the treasure map, he would be able to find the immortal spirit. And if he destroyed the immortal spirit, the heavenly Tao would give him the power of heaven. With enough power of heaven, he would definitely be able to peek into the saint realm. The demon Arch had been stuck at the limit of the celestial venerable realm for many years. He also wanted to become a saint. The treasure map is here. If we can climb up, we will be able to find the treasure map and be one step ahead of them. The demon emperor pointed at a region and said, "At that time, the demon court will definitely rule the world. It is still too early to rule the world." The demon Arch restrained his emotions and said calmly, "But it is indeed not suitable for the demon master to know that I can completely wipe out the demon court." The demon emperor did not speak. It seemed that this demon Arch also knew what kind of person Kuan Yu was. However, why did he help Kuan Yu again and again, even at the expense of resources to redeem him twice? Now, all the major forces want to see the demon court fall into internal chaos. The demon Arch smiled and said, "If second brother and I are really harmonious, I'm afraid they will feel uneasy." The demon emperor nodded. "So you keep Kuan Yu to constantly cause trouble for me and give me benefits?" The demon Arch continued, "In the future, second brother will move to live near the barrier. If you can retrieve the treasure map, you must suppress it immediately. If an immortal king brings the treasure back, it will inevitably leak its aura and be detected." The demon emperor pondered and said, "Okay." The demon Arch continued, "How many immortal stones did you ask from the heavenly court?" 30,000 low-grade immortal stones. The demon emperor's expression changed. "Big brother also intends to give so much?" The demon Arch, "Pretend I didn't ask, okay? You really dare to ask for 30,000 low-grade immortal stones." 20,000. The demon Arch sighed softly. "Take it as my reward. Everything is as usual. Tell Feng Jiao to remember to hide. I will leave first." With that, the demon Arch left. The demon emperor did not send him off. He only gave this little. Of course, this was also because the demon Thearcha's words made people feel that they were not on good terms. Although they were not on good terms and were only brothers on the surface. Soon, the immortal king of the demon race was sent away. The demon emperor immortal stones also arrived. In name, it was a reward, but outsiders would definitely think that it was a ransom. The demon emperor did not even give face to the demon Arch. These two were completely on good terms. Kuan Yu became even angrier. His gaze was cold. He also felt that there was something wrong with Feng Jiao. Feng Jiao's expression was calm, but she was panicking inside. Was her undercover going to fail? Aoyin Yumiao walked over and cupped his hands. "Demon Master, from now on, I am the demon emperor's demon. Be smarter in the future." Kuan Yu. What did this mean? You bastard betrayed me? Feng Jiao was a little confused. Aoyin Yumiao became the demon emperor's man? Shouldn't it be her? Aoyin Yumiao left. Looking at Kuan Yu's expression, she knew that he was not smart. Feng Jiao said timely, "Demon Master, don't be angry. I will always support you." Immortal Empress Feng Jiao, I have let you down. Kuan Yu's expression changed. He was very ashamed. How could he doubt Feng Jiao, who was loyal to the demon emperor? Feng Jiao was silent. Obviously, you have been abandoned by the demon emperor. How could he not see that Aoyin Yumiao was sent by the demon emperor? Chapter 730. After the Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor delivered the immortal stones, an invisible force left the monster race's territory. A smile appeared on the face of the demon emperor in the demon court, but he ignored him. Jiang Changkong, who was squatting there, felt the arrival of the power. He turned invisible and entered the chaos. 50,000 low-grade, 7 immortal stones were equivalent to 5 million essence, energy, and spirit, including the 4 million from before. It was already 9 million. The invisible force sent resources. Jiang Changkong extracted essence, energy, and spirit and improved in the chaos. Connate chaotic Tao body reached perfection. Jiang Changkong's connate divine patterns, green light, and divine power also improved. The green light was like a dragon shuttling through his body. The connate divine patterns shone and suppressed the chaos. Where Jiang Changkong's divine power spread, the chaos had to be still and the airflow stopped. The boundless power of chaos far exceeded the power of an immortal emperor. It was hard to shake. He also had a special feeling for the chaos. It was like the place where he was born. It was close, and he couldn't bear to leave. Wisps of chaos, profundity, and comprehension of laws surged into his mind. A few hours later, the green light retracted, the divine patterns retracted, and the divine power dissipated. Connate chaotic Tao body successfully transformed. Jiang Changkong, peak immortal emperor, god emperor, 7 revolution mystic art, perfection, 1/32 million connate chaotic Tao body, perfection, 1/32 million golden crow immortal scripture, perfection, 4/4 million essence, energy, and spirit, 1045700, feeling the power in his body. Jiang Changkong felt that he could easily kill the immortal slaying sect master with the reincarnation disc without using the sky-splitting art. With his current power, he didn't know if he could fight immortal venerable Guang Fa. At the immortal emperor realm, the difference between each small realm was huge. The difference between the immortal venerable realm could be said to be even greater. Immortal venerable Guang Fa's strength was even more terrifying. After a moment of silence, Jiang Changkong used his divine power and formed an incarnation for the monster emperor to absorb. His main body didn't need to go over, so he shouldn't be discovered unless the monster emperor was watching him. He even suspected that the monster emperor knew something, but without evidence, he couldn't be sure. After returning to the heaven realm, Jiang Changkong still did not show his face. He was very patient when it came to things like squatting. The immortal slaying sect didn't fall into chaos. Although the death of a sect leader caused grief for a few days, it didn't take long for a new sect leader to replace him. There was more than one immortal venerable. The death of an early-stage immortal venerable was not enough to make them panic. Jiang Changkong didn't expect that he would stay there for a month. Venerable Zhen Xian's treasure had already been made. It was a compass created by combining chaotic divine stones and the law of space. Its defense was very strong. Even ordinary immortal venerables would not be able to break it. In this 1 month, he had already dug out the herb veins. Including the ones sent by the demon sovereign, it was not a small amount. Top 7th grade immortal stones, 256 pieces. High grade, 608 pieces. Medium grade, 1,260 pieces. Essence, chi, and spirit, 536, 800 only 30%. This vein was not bad, but it could not be considered a large vein. It could only be said that the quality was relatively high. Jiang Changkong's expression changed. The demon emperor had sent word that the heavenly emperor of the divine court had invited them to a banquet. It was said that they had found something in Mount Buzhou and encountered difficulties. They planned to gather their strength to overcome the difficulties together. This time, they did not inform Jiang Changkong. The people invited were the upper echelons of the 4 major factions and the 3 major immortal sects. It was obvious that Jiang Changkong was not qualified to participate at all. Jiang Changkong was not angry. This was his chance. The immortal venerables of the immortal slaying sect had left, leaving only a bunch of weak chickens. Even if there were immortal venerables left, they should not be too strong. The demon sovereign had already rushed over with the demon arch. He heard that the heavenly court's heavenly emperor had also gone. Should he go to the heavenly court? After thinking about it, he decided not to. The heavenly court was stronger. It was better to keep an eye on the immortal slaying sect first. After waiting for half an hour and confirming that everyone had left, Jiang Changkong appeared in front of the immortal slaying sect's barrier. He slammed his palm on the barrier. The barrier shattered, revealing a human-shaped hole. Jiang Changkong entered the hole and entered the immortal slaying sect's territory again. Who is it? The immortal slaying sect's immortal emperor had already sensed that the barrier was damaged. He arrived immediately with a murderous aura and vast immortal light. Someone who wants revenge. Jiang Changkong sneered and slammed his palm down. This time, he did not intend to hold back. Power that surpassed the immortal emperor. Vast divine power smashed the laws of the few immortal emperors. Rumble. A terrifying aura erupted. The power of an immortal venerable surged. That aura of supremacy spread out. Jiang Changkong, you are really courting death. A furious roar came from the immortal venerable aura. All of you will not survive today. The reincarnation plate appeared. 6 whirlpools appeared and sealed the void. 6 paths of reincarnation. The netherworld mighty power sealed the space. The netherworld heavenly eye between his brows shone with netherworld light. Boom! The immortal venerable aura exploded. Mournful wails rang out. The immortal venerable's methods could not save them. The immortal emperor aura dissipated and their life force was cut off. Jiang Changkong quickly kept the spatial equipment. This time, he could not destroy them. These immortal emperors were not worth the protection of the late stage and peak immortal venerables. The peak and extreme immortal venerables were basically comprehending the Saint Tao. The late-stage immortal venerables were also in seclusion. Ordinary immortal venerables were only in the early stage and mid-stage. Rumble. The immortal slaying sect's territory shook. A terrifying aura rose. Thousands of laws and endless immortal light paved a path. A figure rushed over an extremely fast speed. Dying. There were no unnecessary words. There was only anger and killing intent. Intruding into the immortal slaying sect's territory and killing immortal emperors was an unforgivable sin. The one who will die will only be you. The reincarnation plate floated behind him. It was supported by supreme might. The reincarnation Hades opened. Jiang Changkong pushed the divine force in his body to the limit and opened the chaotic golden body again. Boom! Dang! The fist collided with the immortal sword. This time, the low-grade immortal sword could not break through the defense. Monstrous divine might swept out. The immortal venerable was sent flying. The aura of supremacy was broken by the punch. Jiang Changkong crossed an endless distance in one step. He covered the sky with one palm, and the reincarnation plate followed. Immortal slaying, God exterminating. The immortal venerable's expression changed. Jiang Changkong's combat strength far exceeded his imagination. The white light was dazzling. It cut through the sky and earth. Rumble. The power of the 6 Daos of reincarnation palm descended, and the mighty power of the saint item was activated. The immortal slaying sect's territory was like the underworld, as the 6 Daos descended into the world. The immortal sovereign's blood splattered everywhere. The peak grade 8 immortal artifact cracked. The immortal sovereign of the immortal slaying sect's body was full of cracks. Suddenly, Jiang Changkong's eyebrows twitched. The celestial venerable expert's face lit up with joy, and he forcefully swallowed his blood. Dying. The powerful immortal paragon of the immortal slaying sect was returning. He could sense that something was wrong with the sect. As long as the celestial sovereign of the immortal slaying sect could delay him for even a moment, Jiang Changkong would definitely die. But in the next moment, he couldn't smile anymore. 6 Daos as one, sky-splitting. Jiang Changkong activated 6 paths as one again and used the sky-opening technique. Since the other party had returned so quickly, it was impossible for him to plunder resources. In that case, why would he care if it was broken or not? I'll just kill him directly. Rumble. Lightning surged in the sky, and the might of the heavens shone brilliantly. The heavenly Tao was paying attention. The move of opening the heavens had appeared in the heavenly realm. He, the heavenly Tao, was also very flustered. Rumble. The move of opening the heavens, the reincarnation plate descended. Even with the Mount Bujo suppression, at this moment, the void also cracked. Endless primal chaos, chi surged. The early stage, immortal Venerable's smile froze on his face. His divine body slowly dissipated and turned into ashes. Jiang Changkong directly escaped into the spatial crack, into the boundless primal chaos, and quickly fled. Chapter 731. With the might of the heavens gone, the incomplete heavenly Tao was such a tragedy. As long as one had the strength, they could escape into the chaos even if they angered the heavenly Tao. Kaboom! A majestic figure descended, and endless chaos surged as the powerful immortal lords of the immortal slaying sect returned. Soon, many more figures descended, all of them immortal lords. Is that Jiang Changkong? The remnant aura left all the immortal lords stunned. Even Lord Jinxian was shocked. Didn't Jiang Changkong get the treasure and go to the chaos? Was he waiting here? Jiang Changkong, I will kill you. The immortal lords of the immortal slaying sect roared and directly charged into the chaos, feeling Jiang Changkong's aura and giving chase. The many immortal lords all charged into the chaos. Jiang Changkong's aura was very strong, and they pursued it in a frenzy. How did the immortal slaying sect and Jiang Changkong settle such a huge grudge? The immortal lords of the Penglai sect asked in confusion. Lord Jun Xian hesitated for a moment before saying, the immortal slaying sect set up a trap for Jiang Changkong in the chaos, and their last immortal lord was killed. Jiang Changkong could kill immortal lords? The immortal lords of the Penglai sect exclaimed. The other immortal lords were shocked too. Jiang Changkong's rate of growth was truly frightening. How long had it been? And yet he could slay an immortal lord. Moreover, he was at the pinnacle of an early-stage immortal lord. Yes, although Jiang Changkong killed the previous sect master of the immortal slaying sect, there was still a mid-immortal venerate secretly making a move. If the reincarnation plate did not contain the Earth Sage's tricks, Jiang Changkong would have really died. Lord Jun Xian sighed. Old Taoist Jun Xian, did you shield Jiang Changkong and secretly inform him? The immortal lords of the immortal slaying sect asked coldly. Lord Jun Xian's expression was indifferent. You did not notice the chaos divine power in your sect's disciple, and you are blaming me? The immortal lords of the immortal slaying sect did a double take. They really did not notice it just now. Now that they thought about it, they did sense the chaos divine power in their sect's disciple. This guy had been planning this all along and had been waiting for an opportunity. Jiang Changkong has been keeping an eye on the immortal slaying sect. The divine court, divine venerate was shocked. Isn't this too ruthless? Just because I schemed against you once, you want to find a chance to take revenge? How long had they been waiting? How long had it been since the last time he had schemed against her? The immortal lords of the Penglai sect flatly said, you lot are quite careless. You clearly schemed against them, and yet you dare to relax. The immortal sovereigns of the immortal slaying sect fell silent. Careless? Who could have imagined that Jiang Changkong would be so ferocious as to dare charge into the immortal slaying sect's territory and start a massacre? This time, there's going to be a change of sect leader. No, Jiang Changkong's aura has disappeared. The expression of the immortal venerate at the very front changed drastically. Jiang Changkong's aura had completely disappeared. Could it be that they were chasing in the wrong direction? The sage artifact might have concealed it. The immortal court's immortal paragon guessed. That is possible. Let's search nearby. Even if he has a sage artifact, he would not be faster than us. For powerful immortal paragons like them, Jiang Changkong's speed was pitifully slow. Even if he entered the chaos first, he would never be able to outrun them and be found. The immortal paragons searched, but found nothing in the empty chaos. Not even a strand of Jiang Changkong's hair could be found. Not even his shadow could be seen. Surprise appeared in the immortal paragon's eyes. How did Jiang Changkong do it? Even if he had a sage artifact, he should not be able to do that. Jiang Changkong had already slipped away while they were searching. Even immortal paragons would have a hard time noticing him fusing with the chaos, and with a sage artifact, they could only stare blindly. Jiang Changkong was even more certain that the immortal essences were related to the chaos. Back then, the immortal essences had also fused with the chaos and led him to find a way to open the netherworld. Not even Sun Wuxuan, a pinnacle immortal emperor, sensed it, and now he had slipped away right under the noses of the immortal paragons without them noticing. He still had 2 more chances. He was already immortal emperor pinnacle and would soon reach immortal paragon. Would it be a waste if he didn't use it? It was not that he was too confident in himself, but that he had not vented his anger yet. He should not be left behind if he ran after one move. If he used it, then forget it. He should be able to save his life if he went deep into the chaos. If he didn't use it, then it would be for the best. It would be safer to enter the chaos. Thinking of this, Jiang Changkong grabbed a handful of immortal emperor pills to recover. He had a lot of them. After eating dozens of them, Jiang Changkong's divine power was almost recovered. While they were still searching, he sneaked into the heavenly realm. He tore open the void and appeared in a place he had not been in for a long time. The heavenly God Palace of Justice. With the protection of the power of heaven, there was no dust. It was still empty. Jiang Changkong sighed with emotion. The door of the palace opened, and Jiang Changkong walked out. It was the southern heavenly gate. You are the heavenly God of justice. The heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals of the southern heavenly gate were slightly stunned. The heavenly God of justice was back. What the hell was going on? Wasn't he the leader of the itinerant cultivator alliance? Why did he suddenly come back? Hello, I'm back. I'll leave immediately. Jiang Changkong smiled and took out the reincarnation disc. 6 Daos as 1, sky-splitting technique. The terrifying power of sky-splitting blasted toward the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. This direction would definitely not be able to hurt Zilan and Yushui. Rumble. The void was torn open, and the buildings of the heavenly court were collapsing. The power of heaven was dissipating, and the power of chaos surged into the heavenly court. Jiang Changkong entered the spatial rift and ran after firing a shot. The heavenly soldiers behind him were dumbfounded. Jiang Changkong did not affect them. But aren't you a little too terrifying? He fired a shot at the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. The entire heavenly court was enveloped in a terrifying might. It was as if an ancient existence had awakened and an ancient fiend god had descended. The immortals trembled. Wherever the power of sky-splitting passed, heaven immortals, immortal lords, and immortal kings were all turned into ashes. Doomsday had arrived. Terrified wails resounded throughout the heavenly court. The immortal kings guarding the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches peed their pants. Which madman was it that had broken in? The celestial arch was not here today. Seeing the power of sky-splitting approaching, the 2 immortal sovereigns appeared in time. The immortal Dao's supreme aura surged, and the immortal swords blocked the power of sky-splitting. Boom! The blood of the immortal sovereigns splattered. The 2 immortal sovereigns were sent flying at the same time, directly smashing into the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches, creating 2 large holes. Quickly inform the celestial arch. Angry roars resounded. The 2 immortal sovereigns hurriedly rushed out of the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches, suppressing the scattered power of sky-splitting with their divine might. A gentle moonlight sprinkled down, and the air was frozen. The cold energy froze the remaining power of sky-splitting. Is the heavenly court dead? An immortal god looked at the frozen power in horror. In the blink of an eye, he was slapped. Nonsense! Be careful that I kill you. In the cold palace, Yushui and Fairy Xylan looked outside in a daze. That power just now made them despair. Did they riot? Jiang Changkong is here, the moon goddess said coldly. He made a move. Heavenly god of justice, do you really hate the heavenly court so much? Fairy Yushui lowered her head. No one knew what she was thinking. You also know that the current heavenly court and the current celestial arch are not suitable to be the only celestial arch, the moon goddess said coldly. No matter what they do your duty. In the future, no matter who becomes the celestial arch, you're the moon goddess said coldly. Chapter 732. I don't want to be the moon god anymore, master. Fairy Yushui bit her lips. The moon goddess calmly said, I have no choice. Master, Are you really unable to take back your position as an immortal? The moon goddess was silent for a while. She turned around and did not look at her. No. Her gaze pierced through the void and into the chaos. The position of the moon immortal no longer belonged to her, and she would never be the moon immortal again. With her help, the heavenly court's crisis was resolved. Although it did not destroy the numinous Sky King Palace, it caused the heavenly court to suffer heavy losses. The current heavenly Tao was incomplete, and the manifested heavenly court was not very sturdy. Immortal venerables could destroy it. The celestial arch returned very quickly. His expression was extremely gloomy as he passed on the news to the Empyreans searching in the primal chaos. Jiang Changkong. The faces of the immortal venerables of the heavenly court turned ashen. This bastard actually attacked the heavenly court. The immortal sovereign of the immortal slaying sect was also stunned. Heavenly court? Jiang Changkong's hatred for the heavenly court is really deep. The godly venerables of the divine court almost burst out laughing. The immortal court's immortal paragons guessed. Could the intermediate immortal paragon who schemed against Jiang Changkong be from your heavenly court? The heavenly court's immortal sovereigns didn't have time to talk nonsense with them and quickly left. At this time, the most important thing was to hurry back. The other celestial sovereigns didn't have the mood to search anymore. The other party had already gone to the celestial court for a while. They should go back and take a look. This sovereign will return to the immortal court first. We'll meet again next time. I'll return to the divine court first. Before leaving, the divinity from the divine court did not forget to remind them. By the way, immortal slaying sect, beware of Jiang Changkong's sudden attack. The immortal sovereigns of the immortal slaying sect, hurry back. One by one, the immortal venerables hurried back. Fortunately, Jiang Changkong did not come back. Immortal venerable Peng Lai and immortal venerable Zhen Xian walked together and said with a faint smile, "Where will Jiang Changkong go next?" "What do you think?" Venerable Zhen Xian asked with a smile. "The heaven realm can no longer accommodate him. He should have fled to the chaos space," Venerable Peng Lai said. Venerable Zhen Xian nodded. "The trouble this time is too big. Not to mention me. Even if you and the demon Arch join forces, we won't be able to protect them. I'm really surprised that the monster emperor would protect him. Do you know why?" Venerable Peng Lai asked. Venerable Immortal Zhen Xian shook his head. "I don't know. There should be other plans. We don't know. Let's go. The remaining days will not be easy." Venerable Peng Lai sighed softly. After Jiang Changkong caused a ruckus, all the major powers in the heaven realm could no longer tolerate him. If they left him in the heaven realm, who knew when he would attack them? This guy's squatting ability was too ruthless, and he had enough patience. He had clearly returned to the heaven realm, yet he refused to show himself. Instead, he waited at the entrance of the immortal slaying sect for a month. In this world, who didn't have something to do, could it be that he had to bring the sect with him every time he went out, leaving one or a few powerful immortal venerables to guard the door at all times? Regardless of the situation in the heaven realm, Jiang Changkong had already used the Jade Tablet to take out the Chaos Bone Dragon. Standing on the back of the Bone Dragon and holding the Chaos Compass in his hand, he could clearly feel the location of the heaven realm. "Goodbye, heaven realm. I, Jiang Changkong, will return." The immortal emperors of the immortal slaying sect were also poor. All the resources they had added up were only 230,000, which was really a disgrace to the major sections. In the celestial world, the monster emperor immediately took over Jiang Changkong's itinerant cultivator alliance. As for the territory, whoever wanted it could go there. The immortal slaying sect was furious and wanted to destroy Jiang Changkong's itinerant cultivator alliance. Unfortunately, they were one step too late. All the people inside had joined the monster emperor. Rays of light flashed, and the representatives of the various powers gathered in the monster emperor palace. "Monster Emperor, hand over everyone in the itinerant cultivator alliance." A cold voice sounded. Immortal Emperor Lu Cheng arrived. Previously, he was seriously injured by Jiang Changkong and had been recuperating. This time, he escaped. Then, it was the Heavenly Court's Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor the immortal courts Zhu Tianshi, the divine courts Chu Hong, and the Monster Emperor Palace. The Monster Emperor's expression was indifferent. There is no itinerant cultivator alliance anymore. There are only the monsters under me. Lu Cheng's expression was cold. Monster Emperor, are you going to become enemies with us? The faces of the other four courts representatives also darkened. The Monster Emperor smiled. Why are the Celestial Court and Celestial Court involved? Jiang Changkong didn't do anything to you. Jiang Changkong's actions are already unsettling, Xie Tianshi said solemnly. He didn't do anything to the Celestial Court now. But what if he had a sudden impulse and went to the Celestial Court one day? They had to think of a way to deal with or get rid of such restless people who could explode at any time. Aren't you finding trouble for yourselves by doing this? The Monster Emperor said. Jiang Changkong didn't want to do anything at first. Now that you've caused such a ruckus, won't he bear a grudge against you? Cut the crap. You have to hand over these people today, even if you don't want to. The Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor said forcefully. His expression was cold, and his words were full of threats. Boom! A powerful immortal aura surged, and the Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor was sent flying. His immortal body cracked, and his immortal emperor blood splattered. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. They didn't expect the Monster Emperor to dare to directly attack. The Monster Emperor didn't move, but his aura that surpassed the limits of an immortal emperor enveloped the entire area. He controlled it very well. It wasn't at the immortal sovereign level, but it far surpassed them. Who gave you the courage to charge into the Monster Emperor Palace and threaten me? The Monster Emperor's eyes flashed with killing intent. So what if I kill you today? Did you really dare to start a war? Monster Emperor, we are only targeting Jiang Changkong. We only want the rogue cultivator alliance. Lu Cheng's tone instantly softened. He only mustered his courage because the representatives of the three courts had arrived. As for the immortal slaying sect, they were indeed strong, but they were definitely not as strong as the Monster Court. Chu Hong and Xie Tianshi looked at each other, and their tones softened. Monster Emperor, we are not targeting the Monster Emperor or the Monster Court. We are only here for Jiang Changkong. I believe that even a Monster Emperor doesn't want anyone to jump out and attack the subordinates of the Monster Emperor, right? The Monster Emperor nodded. Jiang Changkong's actions are too much, but someone planned it first. Lu Cheng remained silent. The Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor walked in and didn't say a word. His face was terrifyingly dark. I am thinking of a question. So what if you capture the rogue cultivator alliance? The Monster Emperor said indifferently. You want the shard of the Saint artifact? Then you have made the wrong decision. I've already taken care of it. This Monster Emperor was too fast. Before Jiang Changkong acted, he must have informed them. Lu Cheng's eyes flickered. I only want to take revenge for the sect. I don't want the shard. Revenge? You can't capture Jiang Changkong, so you want to take revenge on his subordinates. Immortal Slaying Sect is really promising, the Monster Emperor mocked. Monster Emperor, it seems like you are not going to call them out no matter what. The Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor said in a low voice. The Monster Emperor didn't attack him this time and said indifferently, I will give you Jiang Changkong's territory. As for Jiang Changkong's subordinates, there's a treasure exchange on Buzhou Mountain. How about it? One each? Chu Hong's eyes lit up. The Monster Emperor almost smacked him to death. You're here to rob us, right? I have been robbing you in the past. Now the tables have turned. There is only one. Whoever gets it will get it. The Monster Emperor said indifferently. One is not enough. The demonic Beast Emperor really has a good idea. Is he treating us like fools? This concerns the treasure map. Take it or leave it. Chapter 733. You have news of the treasure map? The expressions of the four immortal emperors froze. The treasure map was related to the immortal spirits. If they could get the treasure map and get rid of the immortal spirits, would the power of heaven rewarded by the heavenly Tao allow them to reach the limit of immortal venerables and become sages? Even if they couldn't, just touching the sage level and becoming a half-sage would be enough to sweep the world. The news of the treasure map is in this map in my hand. Demon Emperor took out a map. It was the map of Shunlong. Buzhou Mountain was a little high up. His people had to get the treasure map and explore Buzhou Mountain at the same time. They were too busy, so he could only ask for their help. Looking at their expressions, they were obviously very interested. When they climbed up and found something, they would act according to the situation. Just the news of the treasure map is probably not enough, Tianshi said. The Demon Emperor laughed lightly. Everyone wanted more benefits. He understood, so he would also help. How about this? I will send some immortal kings with you to search for the treasure map, Demon Emperor said. How will we split it? Earth Spirit Immortal Emperor asked. We can't decide how to split it. Demon Emperor and the 3 heavenly emperors will discuss it. Demon Emperor said calmly. They didn't have the final say on how to split the treasure map. If he sent a group of immortal kings over, he would know immediately if there was anything. Will the immortal kings sent by Demon Emperor listen to our orders? Lu Cheng asked coldly. Demon Emperor sneered. Since when did it become the demon race serving you? If you're in danger, let the demon race immortal kings take action. How many immortal kings do I have? Are they willing to die? It was impossible for such a good thing to happen. He had many immortal kings under him, but he couldn't just send them to die. This is just a fair competition. Demon Emperor is not sincere at all, God Court Chu Hong said. Demon Emperor had an indifferent expression. I am giving you a chance to compete. If you don't want it, you can leave. He was just curious about what was there. Was it the ancient dragon race's escape route? If these people wanted a foot after an inch, then sorry, he was an idiot. The 4 immortal emperors looked at one another and left. We will go back and think about it. Goodbye. Demon Emperor waved his hand. These 4 were only representatives and could not make the decision. However, for the sake of the treasure map, he believed that the 3 sky emperors would compromise very soon. The demon Arch did not participate in this matter, but the demon master Kuan Yu came. He walked over with his head held high and was filled with arrogance. Demon Sovereign, the demon sovereign has ordered you to hand over the information regarding the treasure map. The demon emperor looked at the demon master and suddenly felt like laughing. Sooner or later, this fool would be ruined by the demon emperor. He had already told the monster emperor about the treasure map. Now that Kuan Yu was here, he was putting on a show for the 3 courts. It wouldn't be long before Jin Yuan and Peng Lai arrived. The treasure map was related to the entire heaven realm. Demon Master, why doesn't the demon sovereign come personally? The demon sovereign said indifferently. The demon master hasn't learned his lesson yet. Kuan Yu's face twitched. He really wanted to admit defeat, but that wouldn't do. There were still immortal emperors from other forces outside. He had to show the boldness that a demon master should have. Demon Emperor, this is the order of the demon emperor. The demon emperor demands that the demon emperor must hand over the information regarding the treasure map. Kuan Yu said coldly. This time, the demon Arch had spoken. He had to get it. If the demon emperor dared to refuse, he would definitely enrage the demon emperor. I will give the demon master the specific information when the 3 courts agree, the demon emperor said flatly. Kuan Yu frowned. Demon Emperor, this matter is of great importance and must not be delayed. Being 1 step ahead means being 1 step ahead of the entire immortal realm. If they could get the treasure map first and purge the immortal essences, they would not just be 1 step ahead, they could even prove their Tao and become a saint, unifying the heaven realm. The information regarding the treasure map should be a fair competition, the demon emperor said coolly. I have agreed to it. That is the condition of the deal. Are you really going to drag the demon court down for the sake of Jiang Changkong's subordinates? Kuan Yu barked coldly. Demon Master, it's better that you back out than I throw you out. The demon emperor said coldly. I never said I wouldn't give it. Just you wait. You humph. Kuan Yu snorted angrily and turned to leave. He still did not dare to provoke the demon emperor. Soon, the 4 immortal emperors returned, along with the representatives of Jin Yuan and the Peng Lai sect. Demon Emperor, we agree. Give us the map, Tianshi said. The demon emperor threw the map over with a wave of his hand. The immortal emperors each made a copy, with Tianshi frowning. Demon Emperor, it doesn't seem to have a specific location. The map that Shenron had given him did not have a specific location and only had a single route. The demon emperor said coolly, "I would have sent someone to retrieve it if everything was clear." Only then did the others say nothing else, and left with the treasure map. Kuan-Yu had gotten a copy as well, and left angrily, very dissatisfied. The demon emperor had also moved the demon king palace outside the barrier of Mount Buzhou, and the other factions would do the same. If they obtained the treasure map, they would hold it in their hands at once. Mount Buzhou was a mysterious place. Sun Wuxing and the others were already on their way to search for the treasure map. Sun Li, Sun Qing, and the North Demon were following him to search for the treasure map. Another group of people were searching for Shinran's map. The demon emperor remained silent in the demon king palace, sensing that his true form had left the celestial realm. He had to think of a way to receive his true form in the chaos as well. If he could find a chaotic beast, he would bring it back to the celestial realm to deal with it. It would be too much of a loss to kill it in the chaos. This choice was a little difficult. He did not have many top combat power in his hands, only Sun Wuxuan. The bone dragon tore through the chaos and quickly left. Jiang Chongkong traveled through the vast chaos, using the chaos compass to maintain contact with his secondary body. The chaos bone dragon was extremely fast. Even Jiang Chongkong did not dare to say that he could catch up to it in the chaos. Fortunately, Venerable Zhen Xian's jade token could control the bone dragon. Just like that, 5 days passed. An invisible ripple spread out, and a strong fragrance came from the chaos. Jiang Chongkong was puzzled. He had never smelled this fragrance before, and his mind was clear. The bone dragon tore through the chaos, and the fragrance became stronger and stronger. His mind became more and more peaceful, and his mind became clearer. A pure white flower took root in the chaos, swaying gently and releasing a faint white light. A powerful aura fluctuated, and the pure white flower bloomed. Milky white light spread out, interweaving to form a world of light beside the flower. Jiang Chongkong did not recognize this flower. He came in front of the flower and felt the white light. The fluctuation of this pure white flower was not inferior to an ordinary peak immortal emperor. An immortal emperor-level chaos flower? Jiang Chongkong grabbed the flower and uprooted it. Immediately, the bone dragon roared. An endless white light engulfed Jiang Chongkong. Everything in front of him changed. In a space, lush flowers and divine trees towered into the sky. Rich connate spirit chi floated in this world. Huge footprints appeared on the ground, and divine mountains were cut off by an inexplicable force. With a thought, Jiang Chongkong swept his chaos divine power. This was an incomplete small world. There was no aura of living beings, and the connate spirit chi was quickly dissipating. Why did the chaos bone dragon bring him here?